This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Hey, the robot! Alright. Yep, so we've got Colleen here. We're going to do an update on case 2, the case of Corey that we were talking about yesterday. But she's here, and I'm going to switch over to that screen right now there we go. There it is. A watched, yeah, look at that. A watched pig never boils. All right. And there she is. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Now show them.
Live long and prosper.
All right. I can almost do that. It's sort of like it's not quite like that, you know. I know that's a genetic thing. Right? Have you ever found what gene that is?
No, it's the, I don't know, split gene? I don't know. Finger gene?
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, I can't help you with that.
Show them your shirt.
What?
You got to show them your shirt. There it is. Woo! We are freaks. She's doing the whole thing. I'm not sure there was anything on the back, but yeah. I think there is wording on the back. Be safe out there or something. All right. Well, hey, maybe you can give us some updates on what's going on with the hitchhiker.
Yeah, we're making progress. What happened, if you guys remember, this is the 1961 hitchhiker from Bibb County, Alabama. Let me get myself in the middle of the screen here. And we sent it. There have been attempts to get DNA out of the poor man's bones with no success so far. So we're sending it to an ancient DNA lab. They get like DNA from mummies and stuff like that. So this is the best you can do in the world to get DNA out of bones. And so we sent the DNA first we sent it to Intermountain Forensics. We did that because they offer a service when you get ready to extract DNA. They offer a service called Tissuelizer, and what it does is it protects when you start extraction. I'll explain in a minute. It can damage the DNA, but Tissuelizer helps it from doing that. What you do is the first thing when you extract DNA from bones is you put it in like a wearing blender, believe it or not, or a machine, probably described as a big capsule that rocks back and forth, and you put this weight in it and slams and slams and slams. Anyway, the bone turns out to powder, and then you try to get the DNA from the powder. Well, that's, can hurt DNA kind of bad, so they have Tissuelizer, and what that does is it cools it. It brings it down to, without liquid nitrogen, it brings it down really cold. And so it's economical because it doesn't have liquid nitrogen. But anyway, it cools it off, and that helps the DNA not to get so damaged when they're slamming it around. So we did Tissuelizer first. It's done. And it's off to Astria Forensics right now to get the extraction done. And it will take, I have to ask them how long it would take, a couple of weeks maybe, I don't know. I have to ask them what their turnover time is. Now, once we have that, we'll find out how much DNA we have, and there'll be a discussion on that. If we can still get a bunch of it, then we'll send it on to sequencing in Hudson Alpha. If we don't get a bunch enough, then we'll have to, maybe there's something else we can do. I know Astria will be glad to work on it. They're ancient DNA people, but that gets to be kind of expensive after a while. So we'll get to that point later. Let's just find out how much DNA they got, and I'll find out what the turnover time is from Astria, so that everybody will know. When we'll be able to say something about how well it worked. So that's kind of where we're at, and it does crawl along pretty slowly, but you might as well do it right, because you do it right and you cry because it takes so long once. But if you hurry up and you do it wrong, you're going to cry for the rest of your life, long time. So you guys are going to have to understand, the patience. I mean, you see this in the news, and there's an article, oh my God, another one solved, and another one solved, and another one solved. But what you don't see behind that is some of those cases I've been involved in took up to 2 years. This one won't. I don't think so. But, you got to understand it takes patience. And you guys know we're watching over it. So we're not just dragging our feet or anything. If I do drag my feet, Gray kicks my butt. So I can't drag my feet because my butt already has so many footprints on it. There's no room for any more.
Yeah, I mean, I've already had like 100 people unsubscribe because I didn't produce the genetic results that quick. I'm just kidding.
Really?
No, not really.
Yeah, well, they're not worth having on your show.
That would be true. That would be absolutely true.
They are, they're impatient people, so they can go bring their impatience somewhere else. Go put your impatience on the freeway. See how much that gets you down the road there.
Yeah.
It just takes a while, and I know we have cases that we've solved cases in a couple of hours. I'm not kidding you. Then we've solved cases that took 2 years.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Thank you, Susie Heath and Perry Mom and Stacy earlier and Cindy Lean. Yep, a portion of this all goes to, at the end of the month, when we make our big contribution to the I don't even know what fund I just call it the Colleen and Identifinder Fund. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and Intermountain is doing good for us.
Yeah.
They're a nonprofit lab, so they charge less than a lot of people for doing some stuff. So have patience. I'm gonna be back. You know where I live on YouTube, right? So you can come get me. So.
Well, I know where you live anyways because you sent me your address to ship you the hoodie. So, man.
Okay, well, that's dangerous.
No. Let's see. All right. Anything else?
Okay, so what else is new?
Well, not much, really. Just doing my show every single day.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of new stuff, I guess, if you go by that. I mean, everything that...
I want to comment on that picture about the boy.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for him. He does look... Somebody said it looked like James Dean.
Yeah,
I really
that's
agree
what I
with
said.
that.
I always say he looks like James Dean. The drawing that they made of him is horrendous, though. Whoever made a drawing somewhere, he looks like an alien. They made him look like an alien or some sort of a... It doesn't look anything like this picture right here. I don't know where the drawing came from, but it was crazy.
He looks like he's asleep, and
yeah.
I feel like why can't I get DNA from his picture? Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
I just, feel like I just really, wish I could be there. It looks like he's ready to wake up or something.
Hey, where's Gene? Gene's going to answer why you can't get DNA from this screen. She's funny. Let's see. Yeah, well, the thing is I don't understand why at the time they didn't just put that picture in the newspaper. Instead, they always do a drawing that somebody has. I know it's like, well, the guy's not alive, but he looks pretty... just put that shot of his face in the newspaper, and you might have led to somebody at the time, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I agree, but maybe there was in 1960s there was a reluctance to put, some dead guy's picture in the paper, and it would upset the family. I don't know, but they didn't do it. But I wish they did.
Yeah. So, and then we're also kind of, always looking for other cases to.
Yeah, that Wyoming one. Talk about that Wyoming where we were talking about it, but then they figured out who it was.
Yeah, that one was pretty interesting. Now everybody on my channel knows about it, but a lot of times there's new people that show up. There was a headless woman found in Wyoming, and in their papers it seemed to never be solved, and she was even buried as an unidentified person. And then much later, just through the process of me trying to figure out if we could possibly help them out, we'd have to exhume, do all this kind of stuff. Eventually I talked to this elderly person that was at a funeral home there, and he said, "Oh, well, why would you need to exhume her? We identified her." And I went, "Oh, really? When?" And it was 1983, so this is like 78, and then 83 she was identified, but it was in a different state, so they never really had a story in Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
Wyoming.
Yeah, that's the state that she was found in, but remember, she was just over the border
from Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas, right?
Wasn't it Kansas?
I think it was, that state just.
Nebraska, Kansas.
And now I have to open up my Google Earth.
Oh, Nebraska. We just got somebody to chime in.
Yeah. Well, that's right, because I think it was right down. It's right on the.
We were talking about the borders between the states. We didn't know that Nebraska bordered Wyoming, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, like I didn't realize until, when I was an adult, that Nevada was on Oregon border, or just this little portion right there.
Yeah, you never really figure that out, do you? If you happen to miss that class in 5th grade because you had the mumps or something, you really never know that Nebraska's bordering, Wyoming. I mean, you just miss that class, and nobody ever tells you later in life.
Yeah, let me see.
That bothers, that can bother, that kind of bothers me when things like that slip away from me.
I'm trying to get that exact. That was 1976. No, that's not it. Yeah. Well, anyways, it was in Wyoming, right? I can't even remember.
Yeah, it was, and I have it somewhere. You want me to pull it up or something? It was kind of odd that they found the woman, and we contacted them to see if it was a case we could cover. And the guy goes, "What woman without a head?" And we're going, "That woman. I mean, how many do you have?" And it's like, it was confusing. And then, we identified her, years ago, or something like that. And
yeah, one of them said, "What headless woman?" But the other guy knew. He did know. He just knew that she'd been identified, and it turns out that they were able to identify her. However, they assigned the murder to the clearinghouse of all murders, Henry Lee.
What? Hey, here, Henry Lee Lucas.
Which immediately you go, well, then they didn't solve it. As soon as they say that, you just go, they didn't solve it then.
Yeah.
And so that one, they don't need any help, except they need help finding the killer because it wasn't Henry Lee Lucas.
But if there's no DNA or no, she may have gotten picked up by a trucker or something and carried off. That was a real big consideration in my understanding in constructing the interstate highways, that it would allow killers, serial killers, to really get for a long way down the road before you realized what they were doing.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of times serial killers become truckers. Trucking.
You think so? You don't think it's truckers becoming serial killers?
No, I was careful about.
Killers becoming truckers.
I was really, really careful on the order that I put that in, because I think that truckers. I don't think the job of being a trucker turns you into a serial killer. I think that serial killers say, "Wow, man, if I was a trucker, I could just be pulling up to all these various truck stops, do whatever I want, dump the body on an off ramp, and then head on down the highway. Especially since the time of no hitchhikers. See, hitchhikers were their prey, and then before everybody quit hitchhiking. I haven't seen a hitchhiker in years.
I heard one of those. Who was it? I'm going to have to think of which killer it was. Not Gacy, but who was it? Maybe Shermantine or something. That he applied for the priesthood, and he was rejected because he was kind of, weird, and then he was something like, and then he was applied to be a school teacher, and they wouldn't take him either, and he wound up getting accepted by the police force, and they didn't check him out. It turned out he was looking for occupations where people would trust him, and then he would probably kill him or whatever, take advantage of him and kill him or rape him. And that was his MO, that he would, priest, teacher, cop, who else are you going to trust, right? Just out the blue. And anyway, I can't remember the name, but you can see that the trucking profession would be appealing to a serial killer. So
yeah, but that's not sure, but 99% of truckers are good people, everybody. But but if you think that there's 100,000 truckers, 1% of that's a pretty big number.
How many serial killers do they say there's loose in the United States now? I think just like 30, something like that.
That's it? Huh.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say several hundred. I could probably Google that and we could discuss it. I mean, and a serial killer means how many do you have to kill before you're a serial killer?
I think what might be an interesting study for the FBI to do is try to figure out the next angle serial killers, because it seems, have you noticed that they kind of do similar things at different eras? Like it'd be see now that they know that DNA is a big deal, I think they can develop a new MO, or like a new the new genre or MO of serial killers that are going to be coming out, where it'll be hard to track them or figure out.
Oh, here's something very interesting. I just quickly looked it up on Google because I thought it'd be worth it. It says serial killers are waning, leading to speculation about the cause. So serial killers are becoming an endangered species. I'm going to put this in the chat because
that's pretty good.
It's worth, if anybody's going to look at it, but I'm just having a quick look. And it says they're trying to figure out why. In 1987, there were 198. Now there's only 43 in 2015, 2 in 2019. And this was some kind of, Florida Gulf Coast University is working on it. 2 or more victims in separate events. Now they say, why is it dropping? Why is it only 2 serial killers in 2019?
Well, because now it seems like they would be way more easily caught with the DNA deal.
Yeah.
So they're probably just taking a break, figuring out, how do I do this? And satisfy my needs and yet not leave any DNA anywhere.
Yeah, it says, it's interesting. It said DNA, you were right. And then they say serial murder is becoming a dangerous pursuit. You got to think about that. Serial killer is it's a dangerous occupation. Wasn't it anyway?
Before they could just kill and get away with it. They wouldn't even care if they left their semen or anything.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so great that all those people now are crapping their pants, waiting for their doorbell to ring.
Oh, you know what else? Cell phones. He said that people are not as vulnerable because they have cell phones. People don't hitchhike anymore, and if they're having an emergency, they grab their cell phone, and then there's cameras everywhere. And then parents are less likely to let their kids out, by themselves, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's less, and nobody hitchhikes anymore. it's less opportunity now. That's why sex workers are such a big target, because they're still willing to get into your car.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's well, I mean, that's a good thing, you know.
Yeah, longer prison sentences, reduction in parole. Because once you're a serial killer and you get out, you know, you go and kill again. But Samuel Little, everyone knows about him. He was, you know, connected to 93 murders.
Yep.
But he repeatedly managed to slip through the cracks. So if he hadn't done that, he wouldn't have killed so many people.
But when was his last killing?
I think it was even in the 80s. It was a while back.
Right. See, so he did it during a safe time for them. You know.
Yeah.
Now with all the cameras, I think the United States has way more serial killers than the UK, because over there they've got you know, every block has 70,000 cameras, and you know, you can see every single angle. It's like making a movie. Cut the camera to do this one. You know, cell phones. People can take video. And yet there's still some over there, because they kind of figured out, somebody can figure out how to do anything whenever they want to. It's just not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's more surveillance, there's cell phones, people are more guarded, DNA evidence, also other just better detective work. More, you know, like you have, you know, geofencing, you know what that is? Where your cell phone logs into all the wireless networks, no matter where you are. And if you do that right, you can track people.
And you can get them down to 2 feet. You know exactly where.
Yeah, who was on the porch at 3:00 in the morning? Well, there's a cell phone in the guy's pocket, so they figure that out. So they have all these interesting tools. You know what? I think I told you this. You can stop me, but I was in this. I always sit in all the other classes when I'm teaching a class. You know, a seminar, and we have a catalog of different classes. And this was really interesting. This young guy was talking. He was in surveillance. So he's talking about Ford Motor Company makes more money on that data the car collects about you rather than the car. So he was flashing on the screen pages and pages of data. And he happened to just stop on a random page, and he continued to talk about something else. There was only one line written on that page, and it said Starbucks. So the car, whoever was driving the car, had gone to Starbucks, and the car registered that. And he said that here's a crime. It was really interesting how they solved it. This girl winds up calling the police. She's in her home. She said this guy came to her house, assaulted her. She met him in a bar. He came home with her, and he beat the crap and raped her. And so she called the police. Well, the guy was at home, and he says, I did meet her at the bar, but I didn't leave with her. I went home. And he didn't have his cell phone with him, so they couldn't track him. They didn't know where he was. So they went to the surveillance video of the bar, and they saw them talking, but they couldn't see if they left together because it wasn't covering the door. And the way they caught him, which was interesting, was that the car, they drove her car to her house, you know, so he claimed he wasn't even in the car, right? That she got in the car and left, and she's blaming him for something else. But the way they solved it was that the car sensors registered the driver and the passenger doors opening at the same time. So they know they left together, and he had to confess.
Oh, wow. See, a lot of stuff they don't think about. You got to use a Volkswagen Bug, leave your cell phone at home, don't shave your head, and do not and wear gloves. Okay? I mean, I'm not trying to help you guys out there. Look, everybody knows.
Go ahead, give everyone tips on how to avoid the police. Go ahead.
yeah. But the thing is, this is all it's all obvious stuff. Like if you watch TV for 10 seconds, you would know, right?
Well, not about the sensors. Now,
Not
now
that.
everybody knows. Hey, if you're going to carry a woman away or something, make sure that you get in the same door and you scooch over to the other side.
Yeah. Or just use one of the really old cars, like a 1967 Mustang.
Yeah, and they won't have all that. It's like the Boston Marathon bombers. You know, part of that is they were trying to make a getaway or steal guns. You know, it was after the bombing and they were on the run. And they carjacked this Oriental guy. He had like, I think, a BMW. And they got in and they stole his car with him in it. And they said, does your car have any GPS? He said, no, nothing. So then they stopped to get gas. And one of the bombers got out to go into the convenience store, and the other one stayed in the car, and he left the gun on the side for a minute. And the Chinese guy saw his ability, you know, to get out, so he quickly got out the car, ran to another store across the street, got behind the counter, and said, "Please call the police." He couldn't speak English, and the clerk was from India, and the clerk couldn't speak English anyway. So it was like these people trying to say, look, there's an emergency. Can you call 911? And none of them spoke English. So anyway, they figured out that something was going on. So what happened, the way they finally got him and figured out, was the Chinese guy lied. He could tell you where his car was with his phone. He had that service. So all he had to do was type in the map, and they knew exactly where the bombers were with the car.
Wow. That's great.
And all I have to say about that is nya, 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 nya.
Hey, look at Dan Carr's here. So hold up your mug again. He's the guy that came up with
Hi,
that.
Dan.
Here, wait, put it lower, right there. Well, put your face next to it too. I'm gonna take a screenshot for him.
Well, you got to see the.
There it is. I think I can get it. Let's see. Well, I guess you can just take one off the show, I guess. All right. I got one.
I really appreciate the quote, Dan, and the cup, Ray.
Yeah.
You know, I sleep with it under my pillow. I love it so much. And I do take the water out ahead of time.
Well, that's good. That's good that you do it that way. It'd be kind of awkward just to have it balancing there. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to do an update on a case that we were talking about yesterday, but you can be on the screen and you know, this will just sort of be like how a normal show would be for a second, and then we'll get to a couple of those cases that you wanted us to take a look at.
What are we talking about? Whatever. I'm just sitting.
No,
here.
I talked to you about this one before the show. The girl that was on the bridge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was a good one. Let's talk about that one.
See, there's an update on this one. So hold on.
It's Deep Thoughts by Dan Carr.
Yeah, I think he's in there. I don't know if there he is. All right. So here was the update from today. They actually were searching the river. The case we're talking about is Corey. I think it's like Gauthier, Gauthier. Her car was found on a bridge. Her car had gotten in an accident, but she wasn't in the car. It was on the middle of a bridge, and she wasn't in the car at the time. And let me go load that one up really fast. I switched screens to look for the headless woman, unfortunately. All right. So here is the bridge that her car was on. She was heading that direction, back over towards campus over here. And her car was in the middle of the bridge, and when another car slammed into it, because there was a car in front of another car, that car pulled out of the way really quick, and he didn't have time, and he slammed into her car. And when he got out of the car, there was nobody in her vehicle, and the car was running. So the police showed up. They found a cell phone and everything in the car. They just left it in the car. Then they sent the car off to the junkyard. Okay? But the family didn't know any of this stuff. They found that she was missing. They were trying to get a hold of her, so they tracked her cell phone down to a junkyard. It was inside of the vehicle there. So then they called around, tried to call hospitals and whatnot, and eventually the police said, oh yeah, well, her car was involved in, it was in a hit from behind or whatever. I'm not sure how they explained it to him, on a bridge. And so that's sort of where they were left off. I mean, their family was just in shock. How come you didn't tell us when it happened? And also, I think it's bizarre that they left the cell phone in the vehicle as it's being towed to a junkyard. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So, it turns out later the boyfriend says that he got in an argument with her. It's always a lot worse when somebody says that. Oh, we got in a little argument. It's going to be a big argument. And then apparently she drives. This is my theory is that there was something really devastating in the argument, that she drove to the bridge, quickly got out of her car and just jumped off into the water, because there's no walking paths whatsoever on either side, and you'd have to walk a mile or something to get from here across to this side, or even this side. There's no easy exit. Everything's high in the air. Look at that. So you would literally, there would be a lot of witnesses. I don't even care what time of night it is. Somebody would have seen somebody walking on the bridge had it been somebody else, leaving the car there to make it seem like a suicide. All right, so today they came out and they did helicopter search. So here we go. We'll just play some of this if it works. Yeah, so I'm going to move it forward. See, I know I was able to determine where this location is, right there. Here, I'll show you on the map. It's actually, so then it's downstream. It's all right over in this area. That part you were just seeing was right there. And now look at these trees right here. If you look at the video here, it's all underwater because it must have been raining a lot. So those same trees that you see on Google Earth are underwater, and this would make it even way more difficult to find her, because if you look at the way they're obviously going to be looking downstream if somebody jumped off, right? So look at how this would work. The current would be coming straight at this point and then go against this bank over here and be pushing her body against where all these trees are, except there's water now all the way up to right up in this area. So that means she could easily be snagged on any of these trees if she sunk and the current pushed her in there. So it might be a while to be able to find her. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See these trees right here? Those are all those trees that you could see on this right there. And that's just so this right here is an actual a levee, I guess. Kind of keeps the water, and so the water does get up this far on occasion, and that's how it is right now. You can actually see in one part of the video those cement squares. I'll show you here in a second. I think they show up. Right there. See, right at the top of the screen, those are them. See how they're almost underwater? Those same squares, and that's what we're looking at right here. So that means the water is way up there, and she could be anywhere inside of these trees if she jumped. So it's going to be really difficult. Well, I think she's in the water, Brittany.
What river is it?
I think it was what was it, Mississippi? Or
Looks like the Mississippi, but I wouldn't count on it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Mississippi. Yeah, it is. Very familiar.
Yeah, it's right near the LSU campus. She was actually heading back to campus, and they're definitely searching all along here. And unfortunately, the water's really high. I hope that nothing bad happened to her, but I think to suggest that, I think it'd be very difficult for somebody to think, hey, I'll put her car on the bridge and make it look like she committed suicide, and then I'll try to get off the bridge without being hit by a car. Even though there isn't a lot of cars that time of night, it's still a long walk off that bridge, and somebody would see you.
Did she have any mental issues, or she was depressed on something?
Well, it sounded like she was. Somebody mentioned last night that she was pregnant. I don't know if That was, I didn't see that in an article somewhere, anywhere. I thought that was like a family member or something like that.
I don't know if you could use side scan sonar because, for one thing, the current of the river would bring her down, too far. You just couldn't keep searching for her. If she was stuck somewhere on some kind of underwater feature, but I was thinking, but the side scan sonar is better for a lake, not for a river.
Well, it's interesting because if she jumped right where I have this pin is where she jumped off. We found the exact spot. So if you look at that and you see if that's really kind of right in the middle of the river and that's kind of the current going like this, then it would probably bring her over to this area, and then you can see how the current always goes on the curve like that. So it keeps eating out, and over thousands and millions of years, this will actually be over here at some point. But unless you manually, man-made build something that doesn't allow it. But
I don't know.
So I think she might be in these trees over here because that's all underwater.
She could be, really. She could be. And that, I know in the past that's happened. They have, actually, the similar cases where the body got snagged on like a little piece of land that was sort of coming out into the river or something.
Yeah, one of the things that was interesting on here is when I was watching it, I saw there's a person somewhere. Let me see, right there. I don't know if you can see that, but that's definitely not something in the water. That's a...
Yeah, I think the chance of finding her is really small because also the river is extremely muddy.
Yeah, I think this is another, probably somebody searching right here, this thing. That's
it's the water's so muddy and the currents are so, contorted and complex that I've even known stories of people just actually in a boat or on a dock and falling in, and you think you'd find them, but you never will.
So what do you think
because
that is?
They're just, it's too complex, the current, and they just get sucked under and pulled somewhere, and that's it.
What do you think that is right there? I saw that when I was going by. This thing right here. I don't think
it looks like a boat or something.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a person in a little boat. Maybe they're searching, but it looks kind of small too.
They're searching the debris in the green, or else they're out fishing or something, and they don't know what's going on.
They're out fishing. Yeah, let's see. So you can tell it's way more. Look at all that water. It goes way up there. So it's just brutal having to search through that. But they're doing it. And I think it might even turn out where you have to wait for the water level to drop if she's snagged up somewhere.
That could be too. Wait till the dry season, which is never in Louisiana. Maybe wait for the dry season 10 years from now, and they may find her. It's just that's going to be a tough one. The chance of finding her is, and we assume she jumped in the water and she didn't get in the next car screaming away. Yeah,
I'm just going with what seems more logical. There could have been, there's all these could have this, could have that, could have this, could have that.
Yeah.
I just try to do the one that seems the most logical. Now, if that's not reality, then it's not. And I'll use my example one more time. You'll probably find it crazy too. Is that we were doing a case with this missing girl she was missing, she was pregnant and missing, and almost full term pregnant, right?
Yeah.
And she's walking, and she goes off somewhere, and apparently they find out that she went to go buy a baby carriage, right? So before that, I thought, man, she probably left her husband and went, who knows? She just took off. Maybe it wasn't his kid, and she took off. But then we found out she went to buy a baby carriage, and when she went to buy the baby carriage, she was strangled to death, and the baby was cut out of her body, and the lady who cut it out pretended it was her baby. And it was sick as shit, really. And the baby died, and everybody died, and it's that's one of those stories you can't really predict, right?
Yeah.
Like that wouldn't be one of the things that I thought of right away. Like, well, I think the best odds here are that she was strangled to death and her child was cut from her stomach. Yeah, that wouldn't come up. Let's see.
That just all of those stories, you know, they're
Yeah.
coming out. You think the world's safer than that, but it's not.
Yeah. So how about we go over the Faith Hedgepeth case? That was the one.
Yeah,
that
we can
you...
talk about that. Why don't you give us a summary?
Okay. I do have a summary here. I put it in here, so I'll go through it. Hey, thanks, Zozo. All right, July 11th, 2012, Karina Rosario filed a restraining order against her then boyfriend, TJ, in Durham County Court, previously shared apartment. And so the thing is Rosario and this individual named TJ all lived with Faith Hedgepeth until Rosario filed a restraining order, and then he had to move out. Okay, and then this TJ guy told Hedgepeth that he hated her and would kill her if Rosario didn't get back together with him. So Rosario and this TJ guy were dating, and they were all three roommates. Then there was a restraining order filed, and then TJ was made to leave, and then the same TJ guy told Hedgepeth, who seemed to be an influence over Rosario, said, if we don't get back together, I'm going to kill you. All right, it was crazy stuff that he was saying. Then on September 6, 2012, at 5:45, on the evening before her death, Faith went to a rush, a sorority event, for UNC American Indian sorority, Alpha Pi Omega. She left a little after 7 p.m. to work on a paper at the library. Then at 8 p.m., Faith Hedgepeth and her roommate, Karen, the same girl that we were talking about before that had the boyfriend that has a restraining order, they went to the Davis Library. Faith left for a short time. So she was at the library too, and then she left for a short time, then came back to the library and picked Karina up, and they went back to the residence at Hawthorne at the View, okay? And I can show you guys on the map really quick. I'll get back to this in just a second, but here we go. Here's the apartment. Yeah, is that gonna... Alright. I think she lived in this top one right here in this apartment complex. And then the library that she was at isn't far away either. It's just right here in town, right there. So that was the library. It's only a 2-mile drive, or maybe 3 miles at the most. But one thing I noticed, there's like a 50-minute time frame that's missing. But it said Hedgepeth and Rosario locked the door behind them and left for the night of dancing at around 12:30 a.m. So they went back to their apartment, then they went out to go dancing at 12:30 and 12:40, and the two entered the Thrill nightclub downtown, and that's right here. So it's kind of all these places are close: the library, the sorority, and the Thrill nightclub right there. And let's see. Okay, and then at 2:06 a.m., the video captured Rosario leaving the Thrill. So the roommate of Faith was leaving the bar that they were at, and then she followed right behind. So they were leaving the Thrill, followed by Hedgepeth at 2:06 in the morning, and then it says at 3 a.m. is when they got home. So that's 54 minutes to go 3 miles. I don't know how to make up the time there. By 3 a.m., the women were back at the apartment, police said. A neighbor was up late watching TV, and she heard a trio of noises coming from the apartment above hers. The police asked me, this is the neighbor, what did they sound like? And I said, thumps, I said. They sounded like it could have been a heavy book bag being dropped. It could have been an end table being turned over. The neighbors, who is named Joy, told they told 2020. That's where I got this part from. Joy's apartment is below the one shared by Hedgepeth. So this is the neighbor right below, in probably 1501. Around this time, records show that someone accessed Hedgepeth's Facebook page. So it's probably her, because right after that they said at 3:40 Hedgepeth sent a text message to Brandon Edwards. Now, we don't know for sure if she's sending these, right? But that's at 3:40. She sends a text message to Brandon. I think that might be somebody she was seeing. And she said, "Hey, B, can you come over here, please?" No, this is a guy that Karina was dating after leaving the other guy. The guy that got a restraining order. This guy named Brandon was somebody that they were hanging out with. And she said, "Hey, Brandon, can you come over, please? Karina needs you more." And then she's, "More, aha, please let her know you care." And then she sent a second message saying "than." And what that "than" is correcting the aha here, because it should have said, "Karina needs you more than you know. Please let her know you care." Okay, so that "than" just fixes the aha there. All right, and it says, "Police said Rosario's phone records show she was calling Edwards around the same time. Then there was no response. Rosario then reached out to UNC soccer player Jordan McCrary. I would say he was somebody that she had a relationship with." Okay, so police said Rosario phone records show she was calling Edwards. Okay, so she called Edwards around that same time. The guy that Faith said, "Hey, get a hold of her," and then Rosario actually ended up calling him. Then about 4:25 a.m. in the morning, police say Rosario left the apartment, got into McCrary's car, because she called this soccer player, also named, his last name is McCrary, and they headed to his apartment. The front door was left unlocked, police said. So when she left it unlocked, which is a pretty faithful moment there. At that time, when she left the apartment, she knew Faith to be in bed, is what she said. Then later in the morning, Rosario needed a ride home. She couldn't reach Hedgepeth, so she called their friend Marisol Rangel to pick her up. So this is Faith's roommate that stayed overnight somewhere else, needed a ride, tried to call Faith, but Faith wasn't available, so got a hold of Marisol Rangel to pick her up. At around 11 a.m., Rangel said they climbed the stairs and entered the apartment. She said they called out Hedgepeth's name, but got no response, and then went to the bedroom where they found her body, Rangel recalled. Faith was found deceased, partially nude. There was a lot of blood in the bedroom, and she had suffered what appeared to be a severe head trauma, Lieutenant Leahy said. Faith was wrapped partially in a comforter and had been located on the bed. There was some blood splatter throughout the bedroom, as well as where the pillow might be, lying on the bed face up. So she was lying on the bed face up. Body was hanging off the end of the bed over a pool of blood, with her black shirt pulled up over her head. She had no clothes on from the waist down. The blood splatter on the closet and bloody tampon was lying beside her on the bed. On the center of the bed, there was also a small white paper bag with the words, "I'm not stupid, bitch, jealous." No commas, nothing. Just, "I'm not stupid, bitch, jealous." And and then after that, it's, police believe that Faith was acquainted with her killer. And then it said, I put in parentheses that I think the note was meant to be read by the roommate, somebody that knew her. But anyways, that's the short breakdown right there. I don't know if that would be called it's a signature. I mean, it definitely, somebody's writing. I think it's, I don't know. I mean, it could be, but it doesn't seem like it. What do you make of that? Sam?
You have a picture of the bag?
Yeah.
Can you bring up a picture?
I do. Hold on. Oops. And she got killed by a Bacardi bottle. See, there it is. "I'm not stupid, bitch, jealous."
Make it a little bit bigger.
You can just have my screen as your main screen.
No, I see it. No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it was written by the same person. I'm looking at the O's,
Yeah.
the O's.
What do you think? Does that look more like women's writing? Women's writing? This part?
Well, the T looks the same from stupid and bitch. So, it looks like maybe. Excuse me, I'm a little tired.
It's
not
me though.
Not because of the company.
It's me
not
though.
Because of.
Okay.
It's hard to. There's not that much to really go on there, is there?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that phone audio. There's audio of a phone, like in a bar that earlier in the evening. Maybe she was in an argument or something. But I, this is the part that matters the most to me. It's like, what is she saying here? To me, it's like, this is written for the next person to come home to read. It's not a message to cops. It doesn't seem like it's to cops, right? It's, I'm not stupid, bitch. And then jealous. Like, I wonder if they forgot to put a question mark after jealous, But it was just quick.
Right.
I'm not stupid, bitch. Jealous, because he raped her, and he's saying he's not stupid, implying that he knows that she is dating other people. See, that's what I would think. Like, I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid, bitch, he's saying. I see what you're doing, So how about this? Are you jealous now? Because I just I just raped your roommate. That's how I interpret it.
So really, the theory is that somebody came in the apartment while they left. They left the door unlocked, or else she was dead at that time.
Yeah.
Who is not accounted for?
I don't know.
I mean, we were talking about the boyfriend, and I think he's been ruled out by DNA, which would be the obvious.
See, that's what's so crazy about it, is apparently, I mean, we were talking, and I thought I read it too in the documents. I downloaded this huge 110-page PDF file, and I extracted the parts that I found interesting. A lot of those documents just keep repeating and repeating and repeating. Affiant said this, and it's just the same thing on every page. And it sounded like he volunteered his DNA sample. But what's incredible is that guy is the absolutely perfect person. The ex-boyfriend of Rosario, who said, I will kill you if I don't get back together with her, because it's your fault that we're not getting back together.
Yeah.
And he probably blamed her for it. And then the situation shows up, and the writing here implicates him. I'm not stupid, because he knows now that she's dating all these other people. Remember, there was even two guys that the soccer player, and then the one that Faith tried to have her contact. That's two different guys. So, and at that moment, how did somebody know that she was alone at that point?
And this just a comment here. Her face was covered, right?
Yeah.
Her clothes were pulled up. Her face was covered with what? A blanket
Well, it said that her shirt was pulled over her face. So I think that was probably because that person knew her, and he didn't want.
That's what happens usually. That if the victim's face is covered, it means the person was killed by somebody who knew them.
Yep. That's what the usual thing is.
Yeah. It's just so hard to see at this angle. What that handwriting, like, I'm not.
Yeah, it says, I'm not stupid, bitch, jealous.
I'm trying to see the print, how he printed it, or how he or she printed it. But I like to compare the letters, but I'm not. I can't see that. It looks like it's the capital I with the top and the bottom, and it's not just a stroke.
Yeah, it's also when you have a crumbled up bag, you kind of straighten it out. I mean, it's hard to.
Why didn't they have fingerprints on the bag? That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, it's almost like Ima. People type Ima.
And what was it? Go over the 9 911 call again?
I don't have the I don't think I have the 911.
What was there was something wrong
her
with
phone was on,
Yeah.
and it was like in a bar, and you could hear stuff in the background and some names
Yeah.
being said and whatnot. Yeah. Here's
Yeah.
the Bacardi bottle though.
Yeah.
It's got blood all over it.
Surely they have like fingerprints on the bottle.
Well, she scraped people's. She had like blood on her fingernail. I mean, she got DNA from the killer, and apparently there was semen left at the scene too.
Yeah.
I don't have the knife. I heard it the other day. Let me see if I put it. If I actually kept it. Hold on. I think it was on a YouTube video. I can't play other YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's going on with this one now? Are you thinking?
All I know, FBI is working on it. I've been talking to a couple of people, my contacts that know the FBI people, and that's all I know is they're working on the genealogy part of it. So you would imagine that that means that they've looked at the boyfriend with his CODIS profile and stuff like that, that they've done all the, usual first stuff they do.
Yeah.
By looking at the crime scene and doing fingerprints on the bottle, things like that. So you can imagine that none of that's paid off, that the fingerprints didn't match to anybody. The DNA didn't match in CODIS. There's just nothing there. So genealogy that's a good case for genealogy, and I heard they're making progress, but that's about it. They haven't. I only had one conversation with somebody I knew who knew what was going on. So my inside info is not deep yet. I will burrow my way in there, and I will get more. But right now, that's really interesting because somebody holding a bottle like that, there should be fingerprints on it.
Yeah, you think so. Fingerprints there. This is one of those cases where they've got the DNA. Now, maybe the semen part might be a issue, though. If she was, it was her, it looked like it was her monthly time, though, right? Because there was a bloody tampon. So one of her boyfriends probably wasn't with her. I'm sure she was raped. And they think they know that, and the person left the semen inside of her.
Yeah.
So they've got the killer's absolute DNA. It's however, I do have a picture of the Parabon shot here, snapshot, I guess, so we can take a look at it.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, you've got these are usually pretty accurate on the eye color, skin freckle count, things like that. Facial shape, I think it's just
no, forget facial shape, forget all that. That's not what the guy looks like. So if that looks like your brother, don't worry, you're safe.
Right. The only thing it is helpful for is you can be really pretty certain to say he's got slightly dark brown eyes, and where his ethnicity might be. In this case, it's let's see, 35% America Central, 35 Europe Southwest, and then Americas 9, Africa 8%, Middle East.
That sounds like Hispanic, a mix of European, Native American, and African American, pretty much across the board.
And
that
you can
sounds
see it right
like
there,
that helps. A little bit sideways though, because I can't see the percentages. But okay, there we go. Yeah, America, Central, okay. And it looks like too that what you're looking at is somebody who has one parent that's European, and the other parent is from Central or South American. That looks like it to me, maybe.
That's pretty.
Because I'm not guaranteeing, but 35, and then change distributed through the other possible categories.
Yeah, we need guarantees here.
Well,
Yeah.
you're not going to have them
I'm just
find
kidding.
him, so
No,
I'll
that actually,
take off and leave. You can,
that actually makes sense, actually, what you're saying.
yeah. And I want to say that picture is don't run out the door looking for a guy that looks like that, okay?
Well, look, I kind of
Promise
look like
me.
that. I've got, darker.
I kind of look like that too, if I mean I could
Yeah.
color my hair, wear different color makeup, but
Sure. Let's see.
what does a boyfriend look? Oh, maybe you don't have a picture of him.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what the boyfriend looks like, but his name sounds. His last name is. Hold on.
Garcia,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. It's actually just Jones, but
Jones,
but
great.
but the first name. I don't know if his name is even secret or anything. But here's what I'll do. I'll put it in the chat down here, and you can see it. All right? You get ready to read the chat? So there it is.
Yeah.
I just put it in there.
Okay.
That first name seems like that could be...
Oh, Takoy Jones.
Well, thanks for saying it out loud. Yeah. But yeah, that's the one.
Was I not supposed to say that?
It's okay. I wasn't sure if his name was out there. No, I didn't play the 911 call. I'm asking somebody to send it to me. What do you think that's from, that name?
It's like Star Trek, I think, like Mr.
McCoy?
Was it? Yeah, was the guy that played
Takai.
Mr. Oh, that's your Takai.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like Takoy to me is like an African American name. You know that African American women have really interesting ways they name, the children are named. I really kind of think it's actually kind of interesting and kind of beautiful. So Jorinda, Jezelinda, and whatever. So Takoy to me, it's not an Irish name, definitely. Irish are very boring with how they name their children. They will not win awards. Irish people will not win prizes for the originality with which they name their children. So African Americans would win that contest very easily. And Takoy, to me, is an African American name.
You think so?
Maybe it's a Native American name.
Yeah, I've never actually seen that name before. But look at here, check it out.
Yeah.
Here's Dan Carr. Look at this screen here. Watch it.
Who's Dan? Oh, hi, Dan. Oh, I love that. Oh,
He even got the We Are Freaks. You guys have the same outfit on. It's crazy.
look at that. We're twins. You can't tell us apart except for the beard.
They watch.
If you shaved, man, we'd be double dippers, double gangers.
Pig never boils. Dan Carr. All right. I put him in the image section at the end of the shows. All right. So does anybody have the 911 call? I actually did look around for those kind of things before, but didn't find any. Oh, and thank you to Sharon. Thank you very much. Or, I guess, Shazzy D. Let me see. I think somebody just sent me an email. This might be it. Oh, I don't know what this is. Huh? 324. Okay, somebody just sent me an email with nothing in it. It was just a text file. It said 324. Oh, is this it right here? Okay.
Found a forensic.
At least two.
That's not a 911 call. That's the one that was in the pocket. I don't really, that one doesn't do it for me. It's too much. It's like EVP reading at that point. It's like EVP reading. Just. Oh yeah, I want to go to McDonald's. Did you hear that as clear as I did?
Say it again. Can you play it again?
Oh, it's just I already got rid of it.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Gray.
Well, it's a YouTube video though. That's the problem. Really, I'll try it again. Okay, here we go. But we can all say it says whatever we want it to say.
Dying.
At least two.
There's lines here, Arlo, to the effect of, I think she's dying.
That is chilling.
Do it anyhow. Which is absolutely
This is
chilling. My
EVP
hands
reading.
are on
It's the same-
fire. Help.
This, to me,
My hands are on fire, it says. Come on.
this hands on fire would be the binding of the hands of somehow.
I'll untie them. Her hands look like they're on fire.
The official autopsy report does show contusions on Faith's hand.
Oh,
Sounds
therefore,
like
it has-
music in a nightclub.
Okay.
But Arlo says not so fast.
What I mean song.
The point, just listen to the original track.
So da na 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 na. Okay, that's what this person is singing. But they're putting their own words to it. I think it just proves that this isn't T-Pain, first of all.
Right.
So we know we're not in a club listening to T-Pain's song.
Okay.
And something definitely not in the original lyrics, the name Rosie.
See, but you can't tell that that's really Rosie. You know, it's just, oh, look, it's Rosie.
Just there. Faith, if we believe it to be her, is clearly either fighting for her life or in great pain. And then a few seconds later, someone starts singing a rap song.
Would that be an attempt
Well, what time of night was that at, though? Do you guys know that?
to mask her cries or pleas?
And Arlo says it's what you don't hear that proves to him they are not in a nightclub.
You don't hear anything else. You don't hear any drums. You don't hear any low-end bass. You don't hear any keyboards. You don't hear any musical content. You just hear a male voice rapping, which I find kind of interesting because it happens a lot during the times when Miss Hedgepeth seems to be crying out for help.
Most shocking of all, the names Arlo says he's hearing in this recording.
I hear the name Eric, clearly.
I
The
don't.
name Rosie, clearly.
How confident are you that you are hearing the name Rosie?
Very confident. I would never put it in the transcript if I wasn't absolutely convinced that that's what's being said.
There is one big problem with Arlo's findings. It's the timeline. Cops say Faith was killed after 4:30 in the morning. The date stamp on this voicemail is approximately 3 hours prior.
Right.
Arlo claims the discrepancy comes from a known software glitch with certain phones at the time.
iPhones weren't here.
Okay, yeah, no, this guy, now he's trying to make it work. You know, the thing is, I think it was probably more like at the bar, that sound. I didn't hear the name one time being said. It was like,
No,
wait,
me
it's
either. I don't know about the, I didn't hear the names either. And is that a copy of the original, or is that the original?
well, that was a show, and they're playing it. They're probably playing the original in the background. I just think that kind of stuff is that's just like the EVP readers. They hear a sound and then they know who the characters are. I wonder if they would have came up with the names if they weren't told who the people were in the case.
Yeah, I didn't hear those names at all.
Yeah, me either.
That bothers me, that it seems like that there is software that could undo the distortion of those voices.
Yeah, you'd think.
Well, I'm thinking that you take an iPhone. What you can do is, if that's an iPhone, whatever, is see if you can repeat the distortion. See if you are in a club and you hear music and you're surrounded by people, and you fake it. You try to pick that up, put the phone in your pocket, see
Right.
what happens.
I was gonna say, put it in your purse or pocket, see if you get.
Yeah, and see what happens compared to like being in an apartment with quiet and just one or two people there.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is we know. I was reading the documents, and Rosario, she got into a fight at the bar and wanted to go, or not a fight. Let's see, what was it? She didn't feel like she wanted to be there or something. I don't know if she got in a fight, and she left.
Yeah.
And that's when they took off. But I don't really. I can't stand it when people pretend that they literally hear stuff. Really, when anybody says this sentence, when they say clearly you can hear, it's anything but.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even have to say it's clear. if
Yeah.
it was, right? You know.
Yeah. Now, did they, the voice, do they really know it's Rosario's, or did the voice, they do identify it as Rosario? It seems to me that should be not too difficult with a voice recognition.
Yeah. It just it was some guy, probably a detective. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he was a law enforcement. He seemed like he was like a private investigator. And of course, at that point, he wants to hear things that are kind of
Yeah.
helping the case. I just don't buy that kind of stuff. You know, anybody
Yeah.
can make a sound. Like if you hit a sentence and it went, yeah, Rosie. Hey, did you hear that last part? It sounded like Rosie. It went Rosie at the end.
Yeah. Well, that's what ghost hunters do too. They try and listen they go into haunted houses and they put the microphones out and you can't really hear anything, but then they say they play white noise in the background. That's kind of, nondescript.
Yeah.
And then you start hearing people talk and telling you things, and it has to do with just the statistics of white noise.
Right.
So that's hard for me it just seems like you should be able to take that and analyze it to get rid of some of the distortion and the noise, knowing what an iPhone does when it's not used in its best way.
Yeah, you'd think. It sounds like law enforcement tried to, but they couldn't do much with it. Well,
Yeah.
so here, listen to this. I'm going to do I actually have a sample EVP. Let's see what you can get out of this. Oh, stupid. You hear it? It said stupid right there. I heard it.
I have no idea.
It says absolutely nothing. It's all it is just. I actually found somebody else doing EVP, and I just recorded a little snippet. And because what I do is I make fun of EVP reading. I think it's an absolute joke. It's somebody like maybe one of us who looks into cases, kind of figures it out. Then once they've got like an idea of what happened, they now can then pretend that they're these incredible EVP readers. Like I can hear ghosts.
Yeah, right.
But I always ask them, how come the ghost doesn't just tell you the guy's name, right?
Yeah. Did you, on the news, there was this Twitter thing that somebody tweeted, and it was some characters and numbers. It was about a dozen characters long, and it was EP exclamation R, this weird thing. And people were going, that's coming from Homeland Security. I wonder if it's some kind of code that they're going to set off the nuclear bombs or something, or code to Russia or some spy code. And there was this whole kind of discussion, and it turned out what happened was the Homeland Security guy's 18-month-old baby got a hold of the phone and was just playing with it and was just punching all the buttons.
And then you know what? When they deciphered it, it said drink more Ovaltine. It was like, oh man, that's it. Ah.
Yeah, it was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I know. Obviously, if you close your eyes and listen, your ears come into better T. Covey, but there's nothing there. I don't believe in any of the stuff that these guys do right here. If it really said the names, it would be clear to everybody, and you wouldn't have to say, "Oh, I can clearly hear it 5 or 6 times," and then they play it, and it's not clear at all. And then even the host goes, "Are you sure that's?" Wait, you just said it was clear. It should have been absolutely crystal clear. Yeah. All right. So what was the other one? Do you want any more about this one now? What?
I know. I kind of like.
It's an interesting
kind of
case.
Interesting. We can talk about the Canadian one.
Yeah, this one is an interesting one.
Yeah, pull that one up. That one.
I wonder if they actually make the arrest in this case, if there'll be a part on the side of his head right there.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, I know it is. Okay. Are you texting right now?
No, I'm not. I'm just looking kind of down and just
You should start.
whatever,
Start.
doing nothing. Just kind of taking a micro mental break.
Yeah, she's on the phone all day, and then she comes on my show, and she's already tired. Man.
Yeah, no, well, yes, I am on the phone all day. I wake up and I say, I told Gray, I wake up and I say, gosh, my list of to-dos is like one or two things. Nobody loves me. I mean, I'm just going to sit here all day moping. And then I look up, it's 11:30 at night, and I say, what happened?
Well, everybody loves you in on my channel, I'll tell you that. So there you go. All right. So we can go to, that.
So you want to talk about the Canadian?
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting one. And it's all broken down in this article here. This is in the description too. And I mapped out a lot of the stuff that they've got. Let me move over to that case though on my screen. There it is. Yes, this is up in, I think, is it Manitoba or something like that?
Oh, there she is. Yeah, I recognize the name. I mean, the face.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I just have that. I have that website up right now.
You want to, this is the weirdest part was when I first started reading, it meant a lot to me. I just went, on October 16th, 1986. Okay, my birthday is October 1986. I mean, not 86. October 16th is my birthday. But I actually remember that birthday that year, because that's the year my brother passed away. And I remember just going out on my 21st birthday and being absolutely just obliterated into oblivion. I mean, people were pouring me drinks all over the place. I had kamikazes and all these. So
terrible.
I actually remember that birthday. It's weird. So, hey, thanks Zozo and Chrissy. Again, so here it is. Carrie Anne Brown, 15, disappeared from a house party on Trout Avenue in Thompson, Manitoba. She had gone to the party with her best friend, Nicole Zaharodny, but wanted to leave when her ex-boyfriend showed up with another girl. So this, let's see. She had gone to the party with her best friend, Nicole Zaharodny, but wanted to leave when her ex-boyfriend showed up with another girl. Brown had planned to stay the night at Zaharodny's house. The two girls left their residence, but returned when Zaharodny realized she had left her purse inside. So Zaharodny then got into an argument with her ex-boyfriend. So up here I thought they were talking about Brown's ex-boyfriend. They kind of worded it poorly here. So here I'm thinking it was Zaharodny's boyfriend. So she got in an argument with the ex-boyfriend in the house, and by that time she was ready to leave. By the time she was ready to leave, Brown had disappeared. So this Carrie Anne Brown disappeared after, they were both going to leave. Then she went back inside, got in an argument with her boyfriend, and then after the argument, she was ready to leave. And when she goes back outside, Carrie Anne Brown disappeared. And when Zaharodny left the house, she saw Brown's footprints in the snow, ending at tire tracks, indicating she had gotten into a vehicle. Carrie was reported missing by her family on October 17, 1986. On October 18, 1986, two horseback riders found Brown's body past a graveyard on the outskirts of town. She was found wearing a pink and black leopard print outfit and white socks, lying on a jacket, one hand up and the other down. Brown had been sexually assaulted and beaten to death with branches. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's really wild.
I think there's only one set of footprints in the snow, right?
Yeah.
Apparently.
It's like some guy goes, hey, do you need a ride? And she's, hell, why not? Something like
that's what happened.
Yeah. And this is where the party was right here at this house.
Yeah.
So maybe
typical, no big deal, just typical neighborhood.
Yeah, looks just See, that's what's scary,
And
isn't it?
what time? It was like at night, right? Real late at the party?
Let's see what time.
Because I'm thinking, I wonder if anybody else noticed a car on the street.
They didn't really have a time on this.
But if they're having a party, nobody would really notice a car.
Right, there'd be whole bunch of other cars. I think
Yeah.
that's probably her right there. Yeah, these are other YouTube videos, but they have a map down here. Where was that? Is it this thing? Oh yeah. Yeah, so you can actually go to these different spots. So I went and found most of these. So here's where the party is.
Mm-hmm.
And then apparently whoever took her drove her over this bridge right here. And then there was a couple witnesses here that saw a white van and another car with their headlights off at a specific time. I think that might be in this up here. But what's strange is here's the cemetery. Now, based on that description above, you'd think she was found up in here somewhere. But on that same map, it says she was found right there. And amazingly, Google Earth actually has street view right here. I mean, unbelievable. And then you turn, and it looks like that's a perfect, that would be a place you would dump a body off to the side there. Of course, this is more recent than that. That was 1986. So let's see what it said on those other pins that we had there. There we go. So there's the bridge. According to family and friends, Carrie would never willingly cross this bridge without someone she trusted. Okay, so that's interesting. She had a paralyzing fear of it, so she really was scared of that bridge, wouldn't have crossed it. Then right here, where two witnesses were passed by a car on the night of the party, Sean Simmons and Larry Liepert, two key witnesses in the Carrie Brown case, were passed here on the shoulder by a brown and green colored car.
Wow.
And then you
Okay.
go right here. Let's see. Sean Simmons witnessed the white van heading towards the vicinity of McCready Campground while the green-brown car sped towards town. So there, at a certain point, one of the vehicles went this way and the other one went back over the bridge. It just doesn't say what order things are in. So this one's the entrance to the cemetery road. And there's those same witnesses. These two witnesses saw everything.
Mm-hmm.
On the night of the party, teenagers Sean Simmons and Larry Liepert, again, had just pulled up to the slip of this shortcut road when Simmons says he saw an early 1970 green-brown car and white van emerging from the stable road with their headlights off. That's pretty ominous at that point. And this is Stable Road right here, this one. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it means that they were coming this way on Stable Road, because you see how that it actually has the roads on that side, and then that road leads to where that cemetery is. And then the first article said that they were found near the cemetery. Anyways, what do you think?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it looks like not really built up areas, so maybe that car could be recognizable.
No, here it is.
You understand, I'm saying that if it's downtown New York City and you're driving a Honda Civic, you'll never figure out which Honda Civic it is.
Right. So
But being that kind of it looks like kind of out in the country.
It says right here, at approximately 2 p.m. on Saturday, October 18th, so just 2 days after the party, less than 40 hours after the house party Carrie attended on Tuesday night, her body was found in a hydro line clearing about 1 kilometer from a nearby horse stable. And that horse stable is right there. And so she was found right there, and then this apparently, it says is a dead end on stable road. But see, I don't see that at all when I go there. And
That was just a body dump.
yeah,
That's a body dump.
yeah, and that doesn't look like a dead end to me. I mean, you can get out. Although I guess the road ends here. It doesn't keep. Well, I guess it kind of is a dead end. It doesn't have a road that goes into that. Let's see what it looks like right on the.
That's a body dump.
Yep. Yeah, that is a dead end. Yep. There you go. So yeah, so it's not like somewhere you would only go there to dump a body.
Yeah.
And you can actually see it from the other side too. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, it sounds like those two witnesses saw the car as it was leaving. Like they had their headlights off because they didn't want to draw attention. But see, all it would do is drive like this and then out right here.
Well, why wouldn't, I mean, if I'm driving without my lights on, I'm going to attract attention.
Well, if it's really dark though, nobody can see you.
Oh, okay.
Right. I mean, I've driven, especially out in an area like this. I mean, there isn't probably even any street lights so that's that same. There's the dead end from the road.
Yeah.
It's right there. Different time of year, I guess. Yeah. So what are you hearing about this one?
This is new to me. I just think that the clue is not where she's dumped so much, but where she, what happened, because you'd have to think about the questions, that I have being new, to the case would be, is she the likely person to get in a car with somebody she doesn't know? Mm-hmm. And why didn't she wait for her friends? How long was she waiting while they were arguing? Right. Was she in a hurry to get somewhere? Was it cold? This is October in Manitoba.
Yeah.
Was it cold?
Well, it must have been because there was snow on the ground, right?
Would they? Oh, yeah. Would she have accepted a ride from just anybody? And who would have been in the vicinity? Who would have? If this is like a neighborhood somewhere, is there some weird guy cruising down the street looking for stray party goers that he can rape and murder? Or
yeah. But it seems almost like she would have known the person. She seems like the way their mom sounded. I guess she was just scared of the bridge. Maybe not skittish of just random people. Maybe she felt like, I was at a party. This is just probably one of the other party goers, and they say, hey, I'm heading out. Do you need a ride home somewhere? Oh yeah, I'm going that way.
Yeah.
Or she was out there and he pulls out a gun and says, "Get in the car." But probably not.
No, I think I would have run in the house. Somebody pull a gun. I'm not going to walk to their car. They may say, "Hey, come here a minute. I need directions."
Right.
And I'd go over there and then say, "Okay, get in the car. Here's a gun. I'm gonna blast you." What was I going to say? Would she get in a car with somebody she didn't know? I know what it was. People trust more than they should. So I'm guessing I know what to say. If it was part of her inner circle, they would have figured it out, supposedly already. If it was one of her good friends, they know where all those good friends are because they talk to them. And they would have to account for the good friend not being at that party and not being accountable. That would be, suspicious from the beginning. And if she didn't know him at all, we can't do anything about it. Why would she get in a car with a complete stranger when she's standing there waiting for her friend to come out of the party?
Yeah.
So my guess is it's somebody that she recognized and she thought she knew more than she knew. Mm-hmm. She recognized and, "Oh, hi, Joe. How you doing? Haven't seen you in a while." "Yeah, fine. How about, hey, I'm getting tired of waiting for my friend. I'll give you a ride. Come on." But it wasn't somebody she knew as well as she thought.
But it's pretty interesting, though, that there was another vehicle involved. That means it was sort of like, hey, you go get somebody and let's go do something, whatever they're
okay.
Right? Because you got the white van and that other car. They seem to be in tandem.
Yeah.
So the one could have just been the... it makes it a little bit more complicated. Because
Yeah, but the white van, how rural is this area? How many white vans? If you look at just the general area,
Well,
there it's pretty busy.
yeah, so like this is where they headed back to.
Oh,
And but still, I mean, there
Okay.
isn't like there might be 50 white vans in this area.
yeah.
But and then it goes over here too, I guess. Well, there's nothing.
Is there any
That's-
DNA on her body?
I don't know. I guess that would be something that
Or what they could have
Might wanna
have
call
carpet from the car, carpet fibers.
mhm. She was fully clothed.
Yeah,
But I wonder if she was taken somewhere and then who knows when she was dumped there. They didn't give that specific information.
yeah. There's more to it in the case file, most likely.
Oh, yeah. Let's see, what do they got? There's some more pictures right here. Oh, okay, so they actually have some images. Yeah, Jesus. I don't know who some of these people are. Was born and raised. Okay, that was. Oh, so she's from. Oh, right there. Okay. So when I clicked on this, it had a photo come up. So I think that's sort of similar to what we were looking at.
Yeah, you see, I can't really see real well because
Oh.
that's like half of my screen, and this is a small piece of half of my screen.
How about
You're
this?
sitting in a room with a monitor the size of my roof, or
How about that? That's where it looks like she was found.
airplane pilots can fly over your house and see what you're looking at on your monitor. It's so big.
That's right. That's right. And I've got 3 of them.
I have a laptop and that's it.
Here, let me see if I can turn this on. Here, look. I'll show you what.
Yeah, can I see full screen or something? It's
Well, here, look. This is what
Really?
this is what I have in front of me. Watch. Okay, so that's one monitor, and then it goes around. That's another one, and then a third.
Oh God.
See that? It's like a.
It looks like you're controlling the
Yeah.
space shuttle.
Yeah, it's like it's like
sitting there
NASA
at
in
the-
there. See,
Yeah.
there it is.
I just have my laptop with my 13-inch screen.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have to work on that for you. Get something bigger.
Yeah, I don't have any room. My room is so full of. I got to clean it out and stuff. But one of these days, I will make it huge, a huge screen. But I don't need it.
Yeah.
Why do I buy stuff I don't need?
Well, you need it because you come on the show, right?
Yeah, it's true.
You can get like
That's
a docking system. You just put your laptop on it, and then it hooks up to a huge monitor.
true. Yeah, okay.
We'll have to figure something out.
Yeah, but what's the? This is where she was found then.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that's what they're doing with this image here. Let me see. Yeah, because the image prior was this one, and it seems like they're saying that. All of a sudden now there it is. Oops. Yeah, I don't know why that's not going now. It's not. But we saw it a second ago.
Yeah.
It just was not working now. That arrow isn't engaging for some
Yeah,
reason.
that's close to is that it? Where she was found?
Yeah, that looks just like where we had on Google
That's
Earth.
just nothing there. I mean, it's just scrub.
Yeah. Nelson House. Trying to figure out what some of these others. There's a whole bunch of pins they have in here though. So this is where the party.
You're overloading. You're on pin overload there, Gray. It's
Yeah. Well, I didn't put
50
I didn't
pins.
put them there though. This is like somebody else.
that's where the restaurants, the Starbucks are, the McDonald's.
Well, that's a little bit weird because here's where the party is, right? Let me show you this.
Yeah.
This makes a difference.
Do a full screen. I see
Yeah.
like a little teeny slip of,
Yeah.
this is where the party is. All right.
Okay, here we go. So this is where the party was that I showed you earlier. But look how close that Zara Handi lived. Where if she's staying overnight there, wouldn't you just walk there?
Well, I couldn't get in the house without
Well,
her
maybe-
letting me in.
I guess, but you could sort of, I don't know if the parents
Break in?
were there. Well, maybe the parents would be home. You just go, yeah, I'm
Oh,
supposed
okay,
to.
I wouldn't do that.
Although
I
that
would-
would get you in trouble, right? Like, hey, she's
Yeah,
still over
no,
there.
I wouldn't do that. The parents might
Yeah.
already be asleep or something, and
Yeah, and
yeah, I wouldn't do that.
right. Plus, it'd be like, well, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, well, yeah, your daughter's still over there partying it up. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. No.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah, and so anyway, what's the other balloons? That wasn't your balloons, I think.
Now the blue ones are the ones that somebody else put in here.
Okay, what's that one? That's just somebody
City.
else.
That's a city.
All those balloons, they're very distracting.
Carrie
Where's the
and her family
important
moved to
one?
this. So Carrie and her family moved to this Thompson, Manitoba area in 1974. So that's where she lived. So maybe she needed a ride to get back to there. And then
Yeah.
and these are where all the sort of case related.
Oh, so that's the bridge that
Mhm.
and they were outbound? They were outbound.
Yeah, they were going over the bridge this direction. And
Yeah.
that's the bridge that her family said she'd never cross. Then this is the one where it says on the night.
Well, she wasn't crossing the bridge. She was in the car with someone else.
Well, right, but she wouldn't cross it unless she really trusted somebody, because she was scared to death of it.
Yeah, but you don't understand. She's in the car with somebody else. Doesn't matter whether she trusts him or not. She's in the car with a driver that's going to bring her somewhere she doesn't want to go.
Oh, right. Well, that is what the point is that the mother says, according to family and friends, Carrie would have never willingly crossed the bridge without someone she trusted, as she had a paralyzing fear of it. So it was either somebody she trusted or somebody just took her across unwillingly, right? I guess.
So it's either somebody she trusted or somebody she didn't trust. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, somebody forced her across or she did it willingly. That's
Yeah.
it. But yeah, that's
Either way,
What's
you
the
got
middle
it.
one?
I think you got that covered.
what's the middle one? There isn't one. Okay.
And then show me the cemetery one more time in relation to the bridge.
Yeah, I think it's better
Okay,
if I
yeah.
just do mine. It's so much clearer. It's easy.
Yeah, I like that better.
So this is where one of the witnesses was, and they saw the white van and the other car right in this area. I think it was coming
Yeah,
down
and-
this way.
Well, where is it in relation to everything else? It's very nice if you
Body-
can show me a piece
well,
of
there's-
road that's an inch long.
There was that's where the body was found right there. And this is the stable right there. So that's the stable. This is where the body was found. That's the cemetery. I'm not even sure
Yeah.
what the cemetery means, because
Where's the bridge?
the bridge is right there.
Okay, so they're coming in.
And this is where the party was.
Up. Okay, so they're crossing the bridge.
Yeah.
They get to that first part, which is, to remind me, that's the, where's that first marker? The pin, the two pins right there. What is it?
These?
That's not where, that's where they see the car
Yeah.
and the van.
Yeah, the witnesses were right here, and they said the cars with their headlights were coming down this way. But
But the bridge is the other direction.
yeah, so maybe they were on their way back after dumping.
Yeah, okay, that seems better. And then the body dump was further up the road. Well, they could have driven to the stable and done that triangle, and
Well,
they come.
but
I don't think so.
Yeah, let's look at these again, because I'm kind of confused at the timing of these things. Like right here, on the night of the party, so that would have been on the 16th, Sean Simmons and Larry Repart, two key witnesses in the Carrie Brown case, were passed here on the shoulder. So, well, they were on the shoulder, or the car passing, driving off this, by a brown-green colored car. Okay, so that's where they are right at that moment. And then, so that's another incident with them. Sean Simmons witnessed the white van heading towards the vicinity of McCready Campground while that same green-brown car sped towards town. So that car went like this towards town. So maybe this is before the party. So that car goes into town to pick her up, and he just happened to see this van heading towards this campground at that point. And then that car goes in, abducts her, or however that went down. And then let's see what this one said. That's the entrance.
I think you're thinking too hard about this.
Well, no, because right here,
Maybe.
well, the reason I'm doing this because it's not. I don't understand how this is working. When at this intersection, they see him again. How is that possible? Like right here, it says on the night of the party, Sean Simmons and Larry Liepert had just pulled up to the lip of the short cutoff road when Simmons says he saw an early 1970 green-brown car and a white van emerging from the stable road. So was it earlier that they saw, and then later, you get what I'm coming from? It doesn't make any sense geographically. Right here, they saw one car heading towards town and the white van going like this. Then all of a sudden, they're right here, and they see both those cars coming down this road. Well, how did that happen?
Same people?
Yeah, the same witnesses and everything. Yeah. See, that's why it's confusing. So I'm trying to make sense that, they were doing something. I don't know. They don't give us the time frame. They don't say, when any of it was. And then not only that, you have that incident. And then right here, on the night of the party, Sean Simmons and Larry just pulled up to the lip of the short cutoff road when Simmons says he saw the green, brown, white van emerging from Stable Road coming this direction. Right here, that was the entrance to the cemetery. Then this one, entrance to Stable Road. So this is where those two cars were coming out of after they had previously seen one of the cars going this way and one of them going that way. Does that make any sense?
Not really.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You could say, like, if that was before the party, they keep saying the night of the party. Right?
Well, you have to do more. You have to know more than this to try and solve this case, because certainly they're not publishing. You need a timeline for all of these car sightings, and it could have been two different vans. Mm-hmm. They could have been, two different, depending on the style of the car.
Yeah, and what were these two guys doing out there? I mean, they seem to have seen a lot of stuff. I mean, if they looked into those guys.
I mean, they just sit around waiting for cars to pass on nights of murders.
Yeah, well, it's just bizarre.
With lawn chairs, they set up lawn chairs and they sit at the intersection. I mean, that's another question. What are they doing out there at that time of night?
What are they driving? A car that goes like 1 mile an hour, and like they just go like they're driving, and then and then they see him again right here, right after seeing him over here. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
There's really not a whole lot of information here. May I state the obvious?
Yeah.
All we can know is there's a van and another 1970 type car on the road that night, looking like they're driving kind of together.
Yeah, and
another thing that could be done that nobody is talking about is she apparently got in a car. Were there tire tracks?
Well, they did say that the girl said that she saw her footprints leading to, and then the tire tracks driving away. So hopefully the police.
Well, having the type of tire would help. See, they're not telling you a timeline of when these cars were seen, and if those tires were, say, a regular Honda Civic or a van or an SUV or a big pickup truck, you should be able to know that by the tires and see if that corresponds to these two vehicles that were seen on the road.
Yeah.
We're trying to get something
out of nothing
going here, and it's just they're not really telling you. Is there any other source of information about this?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it'd be cool to have an actual timeline.
It would be.
Let's see.
If this is a very boring city, I can see where you'd want to put a lawn chair out at the intersection somewhere and just watch the cars go by rather than be bored at home.
Sounds about right.
And, you know, I'm concerned there's just not a whole lot of information here.
I wonder if does this a podcast?
The following.
Oh, so it looks like there is a one episode podcast on it. Or I'll put this in the description of the video, so you guys can check it out. I'll probably check it out myself. Let me put it in there. Let's see. Killing 15-year-old Carrie Brown. Horseback riders found dead. Someone could have just dropped a nuclear bomb on us. It wouldn't have been any worse. Carrie's father, Jim Brown, reported her missing at 4 p.m. on the 17th. She had vanished from a party the previous night. Less than 40 hours after she was reported last seen, Carrie was found dead in a wooded area on the outskirts of her hometown of Thompson, a northern Manitoba mining town that ranked near the top of the list of Canada's most violent communities for several years running. No one was ever convicted. A local man was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, but a judge stayed the charges in early 1987, citing a lack of evidence. Oh, I see. Well, that's Canada for you. That was probably the killer. You know, that's the same country that, you know, a guy cut somebody's head off and held it up in a bus, and he was out in 5 years. You know, they cited mental. He had problems. Yeah. Hey, you know, I don't know, man. Over the years, the sheer volume of interviews, evidence, and paperwork ballooned into the largest unsolved case file in Manitoba. Let's see. The mystery still weighs on Carrie's best friend, Nicole Zaho. Oh, that's her right there. That's her, Zahor.
Yeah, I'd feel pretty bad about leaving her outside like that.
Yeah, that's funny because that was probably her in the car. She and Carrie, who's in the photo she's holding, were best friends. Yeah, that'd be horrendous.
Yeah, and they don't tell you how they figured out she was missing, because the girl, you know, Carrie, the friend comes out of the party,
and she's nowhere to be
and
found.
she says she must have just blown it off and got in a car and driven away or something, and goes home.
Yeah.
And then there's no more story until they report her missing. Her parents thinking that it even gets more weirder, because her parents, she doesn't come home. So do her parents know that she's supposed to be staying in a friend's house?
Yeah, and then
if so, they're not worried. They're not going to call in. And then the friend, thinking that she just went home to stay at her own parents' house, then the friend thinks, okay, I'm not concerned because she's just went home. And neither party knows that she's missing yet. So somehow, how did they figure out that something was wrong?
Let's see what this says. The girls left but re-entered the house because Zaharandi had forgotten her purse. Zaharandi went downstairs to grab it and got into an argument with her ex-boyfriend. The suspect, Carrie, hey, that sounded like my stomach. The suspect, Carrie, got tired of waiting for the two to work things out on the stairs and left at about midnight. So now we've got at least a time, okay? So this is around midnight. A few minutes later, Zaharandi emerged to find a single set of footprints in the snow leading down the driveway and ending at tire tracks on the street. They were Carrie's, she says. I don't know how she would absolutely know for sure, but, you know, it was probably pretty obvious.
Now that part's obvious. Now, how long is the driveway?
Well, let's go look at the
you know, I'm thinking somebody at the end of the driveway, you know, they're not asking me if I need a ride. I'm standing near the house, and then somebody pulls up in the street at the bottom of the driveway.
I think it's right there. That doesn't seem, it's not horrendously long or anything.
No, but it's not like you're standing on the curb and somebody pulls up and says, "Hey, you need a ride." This is, she's waiting for her friend outside the house. The friend is not in the house that long. So she's, standing there in the driveway waiting for a friend. A car drives by and something happens. She gets in the car. Now, what made her walk down the driveway and get in the car?
Yeah.
Is it somebody yelling at her saying, "Hey, I need to, can you help me? I need directions"? That would help. That would lure her down there.
And she could have just sort of been meandering back and forth waiting. You know how you just...
Yeah, or she could have said, "Oh, I
standing.
think that's Bill's car. Let me go check it out to see if I'll talk to him for a few minutes until I get my friend to come out."
I thought maybe more of a Jim.
Okay, Jim. Yeah, my friend Jim.
All right, yeah, so maybe that
I
was
just see how he's doing.
Let's see. She soon found herself before a group of mourners. Oh, wait, so Carrie was supposed to sleep over at her house that night. Zaharandi searched nearby streets, returning to the house party twice. She was really probably frantic at that point. Unable to find her friend, panic set in. There you go. Zaharandi is the last person known to have seen Carrie. She soon found herself before a group of mourners reading her friend's eulogy. That was eventually followed by 7 years of psychotherapy. On October 18th, less than 40 hours after Carrie was reported missing, Donna Kovic and another woman, or probably Kovich, were horseback riding when they came upon her body. Kovich later became a long-haul trucker, in part because of what she saw. Wow. That's a little ominous, really. I mean, whoa, what were you doing when you became a long-haul?
Yeah, well, that would drive me to be a trucker. I mean, if I found a dead body or something, I'd say, "Oh my God, I can't deal with it. I'm going to become a long-haul trucker."
Yeah, and then it's a little weird. Too many weird things happened in Thompson. I had to leave, a white-haired Kovich said at a truck stop outside Winnipeg, her eyes red and teary. I got into trucking just as a way to cope. She remembers pressing on that day past a graveyard with her friend Joan, who was riding an inexperienced horse. Both animals started fussing in the moments before Joanne shouted out, "Is that a mannequin?" It's amazing how many people say that. They saw Carrie's body lying on a jacket with one hand up, so maybe like this, I don't know, and one down. She was dressed in a pink and black leopard print outfit and white socks. You could see the face was smashed and beaten.
Oh.
She sprang off her horse and felt Carrie for a pulse. Once I knew she was gone, I said, "Look, I'm going to go get help. I hate to leave you, but I'm going to get help." I think I would go with the other person. It's not going anywhere, right? I said,
Right.
"I'm sorry. I'm so sorry this has happened to you. I'll see they pay." And that was a bad thing to say because I feel like I let her down. Someone had raped Carrie and bludgeoned her to death with branches. That's different than that other article. I think this is more accurate. Bludgeoned her with branches. Police found them at the scene, so they found the branches she was hit with, and that's that same image we were looking at earlier on that other site.
Well, they didn't have a weapon with them, right? So
Right.
they didn't have a gun or a knife.
So they just use items of opportunity. I wonder if she was killed there now, because now it sounds different than being dumped.
It does, and it'd be hard. I was thinking, could you see where those branches came from? Are they from that tree next to where you're standing? But that'd be too complicated.
Yeah, makes you wonder if that's where she was assaulted and killed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Someone had raped Carrie, bludgeoned her to death with branches. Police found them at the scene, stained with blood. Tire tracks were also found, along with a red and blue air mattress. Jesus. And a black rubber car mat, suggesting a vehicle used them for traction to get unstuck from the mud before driving off. Or maybe they used the air mattress for something else. At the time, two teenagers described seeing a green... Okay, these are those two witnesses. At the time, two teenagers described seeing a green muscle car and a white van with their lights off leave the area around midnight. So this is kind of around that time. So this was around midnight, the night Carrie disappeared. Those descriptions helped RCMP identify a local 22-year-old owner of a similar muscle car who became their prime suspect. He was charged, and there was a preliminary hearing in the case, but the judge decided not to proceed to trial, saying there was a lack of evidence against the accused. The case languished for years until investigators found a glimmer of hope. Hey, here we go. Advances in DNA technology, not available at the time of the crime, helped them build profiles of two new suspects. So she
cool.
So she was probably like gang raped or something. And then that actually, the van makes more sense now. Right? Investigators collected DNA samples from people associated with Carrie or suspected of being connected to her death. But in the end, the new charges were laid, and RCMP haven't released details of the DNA profiles. Well, there you go. Why don't you call over there and say, hey.
Yeah, that would be an interesting case. What year was it again? Remind me.
86.
86. Well, why not email? 1986.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Yeah, okay. That would be kind of a really nice case to do. What do you think?
No, that'd be amazing. Yeah. I'm not sure how advanced they are over there in Canada.
In Manitoba.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Specifically Manitoba, yeah. So, anyways, what else you got?
Well, that's it. I mean, we've talked about, I sent you those 3 cases because, we were looking through NamUs and looking through all the crime, different websites and stuff, and those seem to be actually pretty promising. So
I bet the best bet would be like finding small towns where they have the evidence, they just don't have any funding at all to do anything like that.
Yeah, and a lot of those small towns, maybe they haven't emerged yet into the 21st century. Maybe they I don't know, they just, New York City would know it, and Denver and Chicago, where the murder capital of the world, capitals of the world. But when you get to Tickfaw, Louisiana, and what Carborough, North Carolina, and all those other small towns, they don't have the technology, and they think, I don't have the budget. And they may have 1 or 2 detectives really wanting to work on those cases, but they're overloaded. You only have 1 or 2 police officers in town, and maybe they have that one cold case they'd love to solve. But anyway, it's getting to be more common, even for small towns, to catch on that this is really working.
Have you ever seen cases where they have DNA and they seem to just kind of not be doing something on purpose? What reasons could you see for that? We've seen cases like that.
It's mistrust of technology. It's maybe an older guy that wants to control, and he doesn't understand it, so he's going to say no to the new technology. Not that I know that that's happened. I mean, I know, older people, not older. Look, I'm older, but some people can't embrace new ways of doing things while other people can, even younger people. And I can see that somebody in authority over some detective would say, I don't know about that stuff. I don't know if it really works or not. And so
I think you have the ability to explain it in a way that they would get it.
Well, I hope so. And, I'm trying to get the word out. I'm going to teach a couple of classes back east in the next month or so. And I think I have a combination of ways of explaining it I gave a little dog and pony show for you guys. I think I have a way of explaining it that people say, oh, okay, that's how it works. They may not be able to walk out the door and do it, but they get it. They know.
Yeah. Let's see.
So,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and when especially somebody brought up Delphi, that's a small town, but the case was so bad, so horrific, and so interesting because of that video of the man on the bridge that, that it attracted so much attention that those detectives, even though it's a small town, probably reached out and decided to.
We started calling that person POC, P-A, psycho and whack job killer, because he was called Bridge Guy. Doesn't that sound, Bridge Guy just sounds so dumbed down for like a killer
for somebody like him.
Yeah. It sucks that became what he was. Everybody calls him that, even the news. It's like, the Bridge Guy,
Well, what about, in that you said about putting the car mat under the wheels and everything to get out?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of car mat? That would tell you what kind of car it is.
Oh, and the other kid, yeah. So they probably would have had that, and does anybody know somebody that had an air mattress like that, maybe in their van? The air mattress probably came from the van, right? I mean, it's not going to be.
You would think so.
Yeah.
You would think so. I don't know, but you'd think so.
Yeah. So does anybody in there have any questions? Do you have any time to do questions?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, let's just do. I'm kind of burning out. I've had a long week, so I'm gonna say goodbye in a few minutes.
I'm gonna have you come on a Wednesday then sometime.
Oh dear. Okay. Like that's gonna make a difference.
I know, it's more of the time in the evening, winding down, right?
Yeah, it's all right though. I enjoy it. I like to just. It's not. I don't really have to think that hard. It's hard to think for a living.
Yeah.
People, call you and present these really weird DNA puzzles, and you go, "What?" And you have to really think on what to tell them. You have to think, and then finally, at the end of the day, you're so tired of thinking, you sit in front of like reruns of Dance Moms or something. I have done that.
Yeah. Well, I actually have to think to do what I do, because it's.
Do you really?
Yeah, because I have to put all these stuff together, and then running the show is kind of difficult sometimes. Just having the. Is it
because of all the mob, the unruly mob that you have on chat? They're just.
Oh yeah.
Under control.
Well, we do get trolls. I think it's because you're on. There's no trolls, but we usually get Friday, Saturday nights. Trolls show up by the dozens.
Oh, they do. Okay, nothing more to do than that.
Yeah. So anybody guys have any questions? Hurry up. This is your moment.
Yeah, come on. This is your chance.
Somebody asked if you had any successes lately.
Yeah, but you know what? I really can't talk about them. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, mind-blowing successes, and we can't talk about them until we get a confirmation, or maybe that's so that there's complications, that mean you can't really say too much. But I promise you that when we get to break the news and everything, I will come on. You see, the problem is we're coming out of COVID. So a lot of agencies slowed down because we had COVID, we had riots, we had all kind of other problems. And so this cold case stuff kind of got put on the back burner for a lot of agencies. A lot of police retired because they could make more in retirement than because they weren't getting overtime anymore. So, everything slowed down, and even though we've solved some cases, we still need to confirm using CODIS. You've got to solve it and say, oh, it's John Smith from Poughkeepsie. But then you have to go and get like his mom's DNA to match and make sure you're right, or you got to do the CODIS thing. So, in fact, we do have a whole, kind of catalog of cases we've solved, but they're behind because we haven't had the confirmation and the ability to have the press conference and press release. But but let the year kind of warm up a little bit. Let us get out of CODIS, and we are going to, then we'll have a lot more to talk about. I'll be able to tell you more about a lot of the cases that we're going to announce.
So let me see if I've heard this from a few different people. So you get DNA from a crime scene, it gets uploaded to CODIS, or criminals have their DNA uploaded to CODIS, but there might be just an
Yeah.
unknown person uploaded to CODIS of a killer. Maybe it's semen, whatever. But you know it's definitely from the killer. It goes into CODIS. Then through genetic genealogy, you might identify some leads. Then you have to go out and find those leads and clandestinely maybe collect DNA, and then you try to match that. You upload a version of that to CODIS, if it matches, then boom, you've just identified the killer, right?
Well, you're close. What happens with genetic genealogy is you do identify the killer, or you identify the killer and his siblings. You can get to, if I robbed a bank and you did the genetic genealogy, you'll come up with me, my sister, and my 2 brothers as candidates, because we all had the same genealogy. So they would have to, at that point, we'd say to the police, oh, it's one of those Fitzpatrick kids again, whatever. And then the police would come and say they would rule me out because they knew I was not even in town. They'd rule my little brother out. So it would be my sister or my brother. They'd get it narrowed down. We had one case where there was Barbara Blatnick case was like 8 brothers, and we had to narrow down which brother it was. Well, there were a couple of brothers too old, a couple of brothers too young. There was 3 or 4 brothers we narrowed it down to, and one was dead at the time. The other one, something else. So we got it down to say 3, and we got CODIS and finally figured out which one it was. So what you have to do is genealogy tells you either who it is or it's him and a sibling. Mm-hmm. And once you get that far, that's only considered a lead. That is not, forensically certified evidence, whatever they call it. Then they have to go collect the DNA from that suspect and then match it to the crime scene.
Right. So it's called a lead because that's what you're doing. They still have to go get the DNA from the person.
Right.
And, they still got to do a lot of work. I think that's the selling point that a lot of people like you and genealogists should be selling, because I think a lot of times it sort of hurts the ego of some of these long-time detectives that may have been working on a case. And now it's going to come down to, somebody's just going to tell us who it is, right? That sucks, right? But, no, we're going to give you some names and you can collect stuff, and you still got to do this, make them feel like they're, I don't know. They still do a lot of work after that.
That happens.
Yeah.
And then that happens. And then I know one case I worked on, we pretty much knew who this was. This was a Jane Doe case. And I was working with the detective, and I said, well, okay, it's Jane Smith. All right, I know who it is. Or we had enough, and we talked, should we call the family tonight, whatever. We don't know. It's the first case he worked with me, and we said, I'm sure we got the family. It's if this isn't Jane Doe, it's one of her brothers and sisters, but it has to be her. She's the only one I know that I've read about is missing. All right, so we wound up that night deciding to call that family back east kind of late and saying, all right, we have a picture. We think we figured out what happened to your sister. Can we send a picture? Blah, 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 blah. And it worked out. By the next morning, we knew we had it. They explained when the sister disappeared, the circumstances, it matched everything we needed. And the picture we had matched the picture that they had of the girl. All right, so we tied it all up. Then the next morning we went to the police department, detective and I said, hey, we figured it out. And this is it. We called the family last night. They've confirmed. And then we got in trouble because, okay, everything's fine. The police stepped in, called the family, got the CODIS done. And we got in trouble because we didn't stop after we figured out who it probably was. We didn't turn it over to the police and let them call and get and ask whether the pictures matched. Whether it was like this. We want the glory moment. And we didn't even think, because it went bang like that. I said, I think I have it. Let's call. There was a short discussion and it was bang. Let's get it done. And we did. Yeah. And
that's so interesting.
We got in trouble.
I mean, somebody else, I've talked to about it. It's just like that. Like they can basically say, hey, this is the one who did it. And you look up, because they lived here, the rest of the family lived over there. You have the answer, but you just you're not really allowed to say it. You just have to
Yeah.
give them the quote tip.
Yeah, I was
leads.
talking to a DA one time. This is kind of really like a couple of years ago when all this was kind of new. And I'm sitting there in the DA's office, and I said, genetic genealogy is only going to give you a lead. It's only going to provide a clue. You have to confirm with CODIS. And he said, what do you mean by a clue? I said, well, in the case we just solved, by the time we identified who it was, we had his, we knew the name of his parents, when they died, we knew his birthday, we knew when he got married, the day he got married, who he married, his children's names, their birth dates. One of their sons was deceased. We had his military records. We had various notices in the newspaper. We had all of his military records. He had the Purple Heart. We had notices like in the social pages that he and his wife were going to visit the Joneses down, down the street or something, and had dinner party together with them. We had all this, and we had the high school yearbook of this guy. And I said, that's a clue. That's a clue.
And he was like, oh, well, what are we going to do?
Yes,
Right?
Yeah, well, what do we, I guess we're going to have to get the
We'll leave you
coded-
something. He
leave
had a
us-
dog. I'll let you figure out what his dog's name was.
Yeah, I said, and that's a clue. Oh, okay.
See, that's what I mean. Can you see how it might be like, man, we put 25 years into this.
Well,
And-
it's like now don't forget that once we have a name and we think we know who it is, that the police can either ask the guy for his DNA, or they have to go, if they feel they don't want to approach him, they can go to a judge and ask for a search warrant or court order, whatever, and get the DNA that way. I think you need that. I don't think you need that for surreptitious DNA. I'm not sure. But the first DNA sample, oh, I know what it is. The first DNA sample that you get, whether you ask the guy or it's surreptitious, is to give you probable cause to go and arrest him.
Right.
I
there
think
you go.
that's right. And so that's
Yeah.
the first DNA sample. Once you get him arrested and in the station, there's a second DNA sample that's collected, videotapes, all documented so that it's him.
And they're
it belongs
required to
him.
give that sample. They have to give that.
Yes, and that's what's used in court. That the second sample is what's used in court.
Okay. Yeah. So the sample that you collect out there gives probable cause if it's a good enough match to then arrest. You can arrest him, and
Yes.
then once he's arrested, you grab a buccal swab of a.
Yeah.
And then that's the one probably used to match up with CODIS as well.
Yeah,
as
in the
the
court.
sample.
Well, I think that CODIS is actually used to get the probable cause for the arrest. I think
Yeah.
I'm telling you right. And so CODIS is still there, but I think it's the first time it's only see if it matches. The second time it may be uploaded to CODIS or something. I'm not telling you this exactly right, but the point I'm trying to make is there's two DNA tests. One just to get it beyond, I think it's him, and the second one is to use in court after he's arrested.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where the detective's work comes in, is once you've identified the leads, they go down and then they start doing their own investigation. Because they can
Yeah.
get a lot of background information that, maybe you guys couldn't get, like arrest records, even though you guys can get that too, but like really
Yeah.
detailed stuff all over the place, tracking
Yeah.
down.
Right.
And so, but yeah, I mean, it's almost like a magic wand, really. Just whoo, and here's the guy's name to them, right? Because they're not really
Yeah.
doing anything for about a month or 6 months or however long it takes. And then one day you say, hey, let's talk. There might be more conversations though, right? Like sometimes you guys talk often with the detectives and
Yeah.
give them, do you ever give them like a lead, but then that one really didn't quite pan out, and then there's another? Because sometimes you have somebody that seems good, you just don't have enough DNA in that.
Yeah, we have, and usually it's a big family that's all tangled, it's highly intermarried, or It's just huge, like a Puerto Rican family, that say, I know in one case it was like somebody from the Caribbean, Dominican Republic, let's say, and the family was huge. It was not only his father who had 10 kids, his grandpa that had 15, but they had each man had a number of mistresses that he had kids with, and they all called each other cousin or aunt, and even some of them who weren't even related were called aunt and uncle and cousin. And so, in that case, we did give somebody that we thought might be him, and there was a few reasons. There was not just out the blue, but it turned out it wasn't.
Do you think what you're doing will eventually evolve into being an actual detective position where they're the ones that do all of that and go out and collect the DNA serotypes, clandestinely?
100%.
Yeah, that's what it seems
I'm
like.
already helping some agencies set up their cold case units using genealogy.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It's one of my bags these days.
And then your show will take a dramatic turn.
Yeah.
Because then it'll be like, hey, look at this lady turns into, she'll become the investigator. Well, that's what it's going to be anyways, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. So.
Yeah, somebody wanted to
know,
can you ask her if suspects planted DNA and it is a problem like someone planting hair from someone else intentionally?
I don't think that's been a big problem because I don't see that that's a big problem. If it's a boyfriend and somebody says, oh, I'm going to pin this on a boyfriend, puts the DNA in the whatever, in the house, boyfriend had a reason to be in the house. This is really, I don't know where I saw, this is really, strange here. A woman was killed and they found semen on her body. And they, let me see if I remember. And they figured out who the guy was. And in the process, the guy didn't know anything about, he was living in another town. He had no connection with this woman. They couldn't figure it out. And it turned out the real killer had actually purchased semen on the internet from like eBay or something like that. I know it sounds awful, but it is. And whoever the killer was had actually purchased that and kind of sprinkled it all over the place. But it wasn't, they figured it out. The guy had no connection, but besides that, the way the crime scene was laid out, it wasn't really like you'd imagine.
Is
a
it
sexual
live semen? Is it live semen off of eBay? Like, it's still.
Yeah. I mean, it's somebody,
but
I won't
still,
tell you
like
how they got it.
Well, like the sperms are still.
Yeah, something like that.
Jesus.
I don't remember the nature, but I remember it was like on some was really weird unsolved mystery thing where a guy thinks he was going to be clever, but then finally it was her husband or something, and they figured out that they saw his credit card. That's what happened. They were investigating while they were trying to figure out this semen stuff and analyzing with CODIS. They of course they're going to check out the husband and all that, right? They found his credit card had charges to eBay, to some kind of weird, eBay thing, and they went back and they found that he was purchasing semen off the internet, and they kind of went upstream to find out kind of how that happened, and then they were able to tie the seller of that to him, and they, the guy got caught basically.
Oh. Hey, Zozo asked a question. If someone is raped by more than one person, can they gather all the DNA profiles? Seems like that'd be easier than smearing, right?
Well, that's called a mixture, and a mixture is a real tough thing to use. Now, regular CODIS mixtures, they have that problem has been around long enough that there's software that can unwind those mixtures to some extent. And in fact, what I learned is, suppose you have a mixture of 3 or 4 people. You can actually upload that to CODIS, and then you can come later with, say, you have DNA at a different crime scene, or you have a suspect, upload it to CODIS, and you can figure out the probability that he's part of that mixture. So mixtures are a whole area of discussion. We have done mixtures in genetic genealogy where we had the killer and the woman in a sexual assault, you will have that. But if you have a reference sample from the woman, you can just subtract that out at an appropriate moment. You subtract it out, and you get the killer's DNA. We did that with Barbara Blatnick's case. It was a mixture. We pulled Barbara out, and voila, there's the genealogy data for the killer. Got him.
Wouldn't sperm be easier to, like, let's say you had 4 sperm samples in let's say a gang rape situation. Wouldn't it be kind of just easier to just, you can see the sperm itself sitting in there?
Yeah, but you don't know who it belongs to.
Right, but it seems like
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think they do that really. I think they just have the sperm sample, the semen. And I'm not sure how that's handled, because I don't think you can, the technique they use, they take the time to do each individual sperm. They do a differential extraction, which means you take sperm and you extract DNA, which means you're only going to get the male. So you do differential extractions, and that gets rid of the female part of the assault. But then again, I don't think they pick the sperms out one by one and know it's one belongs to one guy, one belongs to the other.
Well, the way
I think you could do it if you had all the time in the world.
Right, I see. Yeah, because you could, like when you smear blood around and you mix blood like that, like 2 different sources, that seems like that get complicated. But you just said a minute ago that if you have the known DNA from, let's say, the victim, the female, and then you can subtract out. But what if there's overlap? How would you know that you're subtracting out correctly? So you have her DNA profile, but then let's say this person shares some markers, and you how would you subtract and know that you're not removing overlap? Do you get what I'm saying? Well,
you mean with the sperm or what?
Yeah, with well, so you have her profile, and then you find the killer's DNA. Yeah. And you say, and let's say they're mixed together, so you can subtract hers out because you know what hers is. But how do you know you're not removing some of the overlap information? I don't know how it actually works. So.
Well, no, I get it, but you do. Once you get her out of there, whatever's left belonged to the other guy. You are correct that, if they both have a 15 marker somewhere, you take her 15 out, and you'd have some left, right? Maybe if you can do that, you can do that. You can separate them out. Whatever's left is going to be the other guy. I could show you a little diagram and everything. You can do that. You can do that.
That's pretty cool. Anyways, are you sleepy now?
I'm trashed.
This was your wheelhouse. This stuff here.
Yeah.
But
let's see. No, we've just. Okay, I see. We had a case where woman was killed, and they found cigarette butts in the area where she was killed, and they thought, we're going to analyze the DNA from these cigarette butts, and yet the husband was acting really funny. And in the end, the cigarette butts belonged to some guy who lived several miles away, who had dropped his cigarettes near a store or something. And apparently the real killer, had picked up the cigarette butts and throw them around to throw the police off. But it didn't work, because those cigarette butts with genealogy, with CODIS, you'd think, okay, might be the killer. But with genealogy, you actually identify who it is. It doesn't matter whether they're in CODIS or not. And identifying that guy, and the guy didn't have anything to do with this, didn't even know him. He just happened to have a cigarette picked up from somewhere else. That's the only connection he had to the crime scene.
Yeah, it's a whole new world out there. But hey, you know what? I'll let you go so you can go get some sleep. But if you have
I'm going to have to go. It's just been a pretty long, exciting week here with murders, rapes, homicides, kidnapping all week. Yeah. You get to the end and you just have to, sit in front of, like I said, reruns of Dance Moms.
How about Naked and Afraid? You ever watch that one?
Did I see? I've seen it kind of walking by the TV, somebody else watching it and going, "You're not watching that trash, are you?" No, I've seen it, but I didn't get engaged. Whatever.
Yeah. I've watched it a couple times. That's definitely just mind-numbingly. Like you're not thinking about anything other than just your brain melting out of your head at that point.
Right. I like. I was watching. I told you the Netflix on the Isabella Gardner Museum. How they somehow in 1990 somebody just walked in and robbed the museum of $200 million worth of art, and it was like, what? How did they do that? It's really interesting, and nobody knows where these paintings are. There's like Rembrandt's worth billions of dollars, and what are you going to do with them? Hang them in your living room and tell everybody it's a copy? What they don't know.
I was just watching something on Netflix about the I think it was like Mormon, this guy,
the
Mormon killing or something. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
guy
murder among the Mormons.
Yeah, forged all the documents. And,
yeah.
I kind of figured, I was actually thinking that right at the beginning. Like, how is this one guy finding all of these incredibly rare documents? But
yeah, I don't know. I haven't got to that one yet.
Yeah. Oh, well, you'll see. I didn't really give it away. I'm still got more to watch, so I don't know if I've actually got the ending.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch that one or not. I like Dance Moms better, in the my off hours.
Right. It's not murder.
I don't really watch a lot of true crime. That's kind of funny, and I don't watch true crime. I don't write about true crime. I watch, I watch biographies. I watch, like this robbery thing is very interesting. That's true crime, but it's not murder or anything. I watch the odd murder show. So I watched, my favorite serial killer is who's that guy, the weird guy, the Jinx.
Oh yeah, what the hell is
what's his name? I watched Ted Bundy, and I watched the Jinx, which is that guy. You know who I'm talking about? Yeah. The guy with
he's a crazy guy. He's a guy who goes, and he whispers and stuff. And
autism. Yeah, I killed them all.
Yeah.
What's his name? That's driving me crazy. Somebody's going to put it in the chat.
Yeah, somebody will put it in there. It seems like they're so far behind.
Yeah, it's Robert Durst. Got it. You see, I still have brain cells. That's my favorite serial
And you know
killer.
what? You said it exactly when Amber's word came up. She'll think that you, and then Zozo only types in when anybody else types it in. She types it in right after to make it look like she was aware of it too.
Yeah,
and
well,
then,
there's 3 Robert Durst there, so
right.
Maybe I caught it from the corner of my eye or something, but I don't know. Robert Durst is my favorite. I'm kind of worn out on Ted Bundy. I kind of don't like him so much anymore because he's overrepresented.
Now, what do you mean by liking him? Did you?
Well, I think they're clever, or they almost got away with it, or they thought they were smart, but they weren't. They were like surgical, figured it out. Like Gacy, I'm not really crazy about him because he's too messy. The story is so gross and so messy.
Yeah.
One of my acquaintances struck up a friendship with him. Oh, that's Throdini. Throdini's friend. Throdini. Yeah. His friend has that collection of murderabilia, and that friend was a prison guard who was in touch with Gacy and had. Throdini was reading me a lot of letters they exchanged. I had to stop him. I couldn't stomach it anymore.
He needs to get a hold of me because I was gonna the memorabilia guy. That'd have been
okay. No, yeah. I'll have him. You met him that one time. When you called. No, I'll tell him. If you want to talk to him, great. Exchange some information. See if he'd like to come on.
That'd be cool.
If it's appropriate to your design of your podcast.
I'm sure it is. What do you think of? I kind of do all kinds of different stuff on here. What do you think of Dahmer? You like him? Is he one of your?
No, I just can't imagine eating people. He doesn't. That's kind of low class. It's kind of a low class kill. Just getting people and bringing them apart and killing them and put them in the refrigerator. Almost any serial killer might be able to do that. I like Durst because he kind of got away with it so long, and nobody really, nobody really was thinking about he could be. The guy that did killed his wife and stuff, he kind of just, lied his way through all that.
Yeah. And
so he's kind of clever and tricky and rich, very wealthy. So he got away with it for that reason. And then, but Dahmer's really so messy, and he wasn't really clever. He was just, I don't know, lucky.
Yeah. Well, he got some crazy pictures I found in this book that I got, Practical Homicide Investigation. That they actually put the pictures. Oh man, he was nuts. He took heads.
Oh yeah, it is
bodies.
G.J. Schaefer. Somebody mentioned, Sarita mentioned G.G. Schaefer. Yeah, Throdini is into Schaefer. He's got like a, okay, anybody, let me just tell you, everybody's wondering what I'm talking about. A very good friend of mine is David Adamovich, called the Great Throdini, because he's the top knife thrower in the world. He has like 40 Guinness Book of World Records. You can look him up. He does the double veiled wheel of death. So but his friend Richie Magic was a prison guard, and Richie Magic wound up, because prison guards can be very boring, can be a boring job. He wound up writing to all of these killers over 30 years and amassed a huge collection of letters, autographs, personal correspondence, artwork done by Elmer Wayne Henley. You know, some of these people, I saw a very beautiful letter from the Birdman of Alcatraz that he was, some people would write him about their birds and their illnesses, and he wrote this beautiful letter diagnosing the illness of a friend's pet parakeet. And so he's got tubs and tubs of memorabilia, artwork. He's got Susan Smith's underwear, you know, because they would send Richie Magic all these, you know, tokens of their esteem. And so now Throdini has I know he's working on a podcast, but he's you know, like more of a series, not every week like Ray does, but he's got tubs and tubs of this material that he can talk about. He's also got several knives that were supposed to belong to the great Houdini, and we've been working on getting the provenance of the knives. So, you know, I've mentioned to Gray, he might be interesting to talk to him and bring him on the show. But, you know, and we have to make the full connection. They kind of said hi on one day when I was on the phone, and Throdini was out here. So, you know, he can tell you, he's got locks of hair from Bundy, Dahmer, Gacy. He's got hair that people clipped before they were executed.
And he got some of that murderabilia.
Yeah, he's got tubs and tubs. He's got it cataloged, and just, It's amazing. He bought it from Richie's widow, and he always, you know, lets her in on what's going on and stuff. So
does he also know a lot about the cases that he has the information on? Okay, so there you go.
He's going to publish a book. I'm helping him figure that out. He's got tons of Manson letters and weird pictures and stuff, and so he's working on a book about Manson right now.
Yeah. Somebody just wanted to ask something about the IgG for the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, nobody's really talking about that, and the problem is, you know, they have letters that he supposedly sent to the newspaper, but I think they're trying to work on those letters, but that's kind of I don't know, nobody's talking about it. And then but in the meantime, they cracked some of the codes that he was using. Some people, I think in Australia, cracked the code that he was using at least one of those letters, so that might reveal who he is.
Yeah, I was really close myself. I just needed one more thing, but yeah, I'm kidding.
Right.
But yeah, that was like a few months back, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing. Didn't say a damn thing though. You'd think it would have had his name and. You know,
yeah, it just says something about gas chamber and having slaves and stuff like that, just like he normally said.
So.
Yeah, he said there's more than two genders. I think that is kind of correct, because we say male and female, but to be male, you have to produce testosterone somewhere, and the other party you has to use it. It's complex genetic process, so sometimes the genetic process doesn't work. So you are female, although your body's producing testosterone and you should be male, but you're female because your body can't use it. So they are finding, now I'm not the expert, they are finding that there's actually a panorama of genders. If you want to use the standard male and female definitions, actually that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions? I'm trying to read them and answer them.
Yeah. You mean because they're producing? I mean, but you're born a certain gender, though, right? Like
yeah. Well, some people are ambiguous depending on their hormones, and then there's some people that are born with male equipment that are absolutely female. Not gay, but absolutely. So now when medical examiners fill out, the forms for deceased, it's like sex and gender are two different things.
Right. But the thing is for me, like, gender is a biological thing. That's what we're talking about here. It's a biological.
Yeah. Well, sex and gender are two different things. So I'm here to talk about, those issues. How do you issue a death certificate? How do you exactly say if a man, say, has a sex change operation? If he decides he's gay, then he has a sex change operation. Is he male or female or gay or straight and there's certain ways. So preference is different from physiology is the answer to that.
Well, it's sort of interesting, like with Caitlyn Jenner, like she is a transgender lesbian because she's still attracted to females, but he decided at one point that he's a female, right?
Right. So there's physical, and then there's preference. So it can get pretty tricky, But anyway, I'm saying that there is, typically gender. There is gender, and that's. Sex is what your equipment is, your physical body is, and gender is more your preference. What you see yourself as or how you function in life.
I see. So
I'm not really an expert on that, but that's what I remember from the different seminars I've been sitting in, and I hear things like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about that's a good time to end it, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure I need any more questions on that subject,
Yeah, those are one of those ones that people get all offended if you just try to have a rational conversation about it.
Yeah. Am I like really fuzzy or something?
No, I screwed up your screen. There it is. No,
there it is.
Pretty clear. Yeah, pretty clear. All right. Well, listen, it's always great having you on here. Next time we'll get some specific cases or something. I don't know. I mean, it's always just fun.
No, it was fun. We talked about those three. And I will be able to talk more about the cases I'm working on in time. And I'll ask the detectives what kind of part of the backstory I can tell you. If there's any other tidbits I can throw out there, I'm sure there may be.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll keep the ball rolling on the hitchhiker, see what happens. And you're usually pretty good at updating me anyways.
Yeah.
I don't try to bug you too much. I don't try to bug you that much.
No, you don't bug me at all. Listen, there are people that bug me. You aren't one of them.
Yeah. She doesn't answer the phone right away now, though. She used to answer it. Now it's just kind of like this slow ring where I have to wonder if she's...
I'm the receptionist. Identifinders International.
Yeah.
Who would you like to speak to?
That's right. All right. Well, I'm probably going to stay on for a couple minutes, but I appreciate
Yeah, I want to say bye. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk soon. I'll be back soon, okay? Thank y'all for listening. And you have a good week. We'll talk soon.
All right. Have a good one. See you.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Ew. This video. Oops. You go to this screen over here. Yeah, I was just saying a minute ago. I know she was on for a while, but you guys don't need to keep typing in how she's tired and everything like this. I get it, but if she wants to keep talking about something, I'll let her keep talking about something. But I don't need you to guys keep bringing up, oh man, you look tired, why don't you go take a rest? Hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do... That's kind of rude too, It's like, well, just let her be what she wants to be. Okay, I gave her a couple times to get off the show, and she didn't mind staying on for a couple extra minutes. Okay, let me handle that stuff. Do not type that stuff into the chat. Okay, it's weird. I don't even understand how that happens, but all right. Well, what do you guys think? She's interesting, right? Another interesting show. We always get these little nuggets of information out there, right? It's pretty interesting. I don't know what that means. What do you mean, what have we done with her? She was just on for 3 hours. You'll have to go watch it again. So anyways, I don't really have much more to do myself, to be honest with you. But all I'm asking is that when we're doing these shows, just, nobody's interested in how observant you are, that, oh, wow, look at somebody, they're tired. Okay? She comes on because she's coming on, and then when you say that, it's sort of a dig almost. It's like, just let her do her show if she, whatever she wants to do. I'm aware of what's going on. I'm not like sitting here like some weirdo that's not observing her, Hey, thanks, Cuckoo Bananas. Yeah, she's funny. I feel pretty fortunate. I'm not even sure. How did I meet her? Yeah, when
Great
was
job
it?
hosting. Thank you, Gray.
I think it was just I contacted her about something. Man, hard to even remember anymore. Yeah, well, I'm glad you guys like it, and thanks for all of the super chats and everything. Very, very supportive. That's what we're actually, you guys are supporting my channel and the charities that we do, specifically the DNA fund that we're building up to support these cases that she's looking into. And I even have another person, I think he's a detective or a lieutenant or somebody, and he knows that I have this fund, and they use a different genealogy service, I think. But I said, hey, well, if you guys want to use us, you got to go through Identifinders. If you want to use some of our funds, you'll have to go through Identifinders and Colleen Fitzpatrick. Okay, that's who I want to. If I'm going to be funding something, it's going to go through hers. No, I talked to her a long time ago. It seems like it was actually around CrimeCon a couple of years ago. What was that about? Man, it's bizarre. Don't remember. So that's it. What else? What do you guys got? What do you got? Yeah. Well, I try to get her on, every few weeks or something. Yeah. Oh, she's a rocket scientist. I mean, a literal rocket scientist. Yeah, I already knew about that, Brittany. Yeah, in the Maya case, there's a audio of 6 sort of gunshot sounding audio from a neighbor's Ring camera on the same night. Like, I think it was around 10 at night or 11 or, you know, something like 10 to 12. I can't remember exactly. Where they hear like 6 gunshots go off. That'd be really pretty strange. And the police apparently have had that audio for 6 months. And then that would explain why he needed to clean the gun. But then would he be that stupid to fire 6 times out loud in his own home? And then how did he clean up all the spatter and everything? Thanks, Holly Evans. Wait, did I record that? No.
Great duo. Thanks, Growing Heart.
I don't know if that's... I don't think so. Yeah, good old Larry, huh? I don't know who that is. I have no idea who you're talking about, Vanessa. Yeah, but it was really loud. It didn't sound muffled at all. It wasn't like... It didn't sound... Here, hold on a second.
Joining us tonight.
David Gottfredson went missing.
Exactly what a gunshot.
Audio that captured in the neighborhood went missing. The audio was recorded the same date that Maya reportedly had argued with her husband, Larry Miliete. Chula Vista police have had the recording for 3 months, along with other surveillance video. Went missing.
That's exactly what a gunshot
was recorded
sounds like.
the same date that Maya reportedly had argued with her husband, Larry Miliete. Chula Vista police have had the recording for 3 months, along with other surveillance videos from the neighborhood.
When they were turned over to the police, almost an excited utterances.
Missed you guys. My kiddos have been keeping me busy. Hugging face, revolving
Anyways, you guys
hearts,
should just type it
closed
in and check it
umbrella,
out.
umbrella.
I always think you're doing that song by Brianna. I think that's her name. Under My Umbrella. Yeah, it's interesting because he wanted to clean the gun, remember? He needed to ask a friend so he could clean the weapon. So you guys were able to recognize me without my hat on? Alright. You know, I'm going to do the super chats different this time. I'm just going to read all the different comments. Alright, so here we go. So the very first one, right out of the gate, was Stacy with a double cat eye donation. And by the way, everybody, is there anybody here that put a 1 if you haven't seen are the Dilatov Pass series that me and Stacy did. Mainly Stacy, though. I just was hosting it. Put a 1 if you haven't seen that. The series. Yeah. So you guys need to go watch that one. And also, Stacy has a book on Amazon. Come on, you've seen it, Susanna. What are you talking about? I'm saying if you haven't seen it. Right? And it's called Death of Nine, the Dilatov Pass Mystery. It's on Amazon. And she didn't tell me to say this or anything. But the link's in the description of the video. But it's really good. It's amazing. She wrote this book, and it's on Amazon. And it's not really expensive. And a lot of pictures that make you feel like you're right there. So definitely should go get that. All right. Then we have Cindy Lean Lean. Okay. And she said, oh, actually, Stacy wrote, our power is flickering from the storm, but I want to get a donation in. Thank you for being here, Colleen. And thank you, Gray, for all the amazing things you do. Love you, my friend, and love you all, the wonderful freaks. This is such a beautiful family. I mean, come on. That's so true. Yeah, we all bicker and moan every once in a while. You know, get mad at each other every once in a while, but you know, that's the reality of the world, isn't it? It's called Death of Nine, the Dilatov Pass Mystery. All right, and then Cindy Lean said, recently in Kenosha, Wisconsin, DNA Doe Project helped ID a man who went missing in 1977. His body was found in 1978. I guess they had been working on that one for a long time. And then Perry Mom, thank you for all the work you do. Susie Heath said some kind of a thank you. Oh, just it says thank you. And then Zozo, thank you, Colleen and Gray, for all you do. You are an incredible team. Thanks, Zozo. Robert Durst. Ita Deyikzo. And then, I don't know if I'm saying that right. ETA or Ita or Eta Deyikzo. And then Holly Evans said thank you to the two best crime busters of all time. Then Zozo again. Meredith McKenzie. I had to laugh when you said dry season won't come in Louisiana. That must have been Colleen. One Sly Angel. Chrissy, you rock for doing this, and Friday with Fitz is fantastic for us freaks. And Wally Gator, great show, Gray. We love you, Colleen. Well, what about me? What am I, chopped liver, Cairo? Jesus. Hey, Zozo again. And Chrissy, freaks, love Dr. Fitz. Cindy Lynn, peace, love, light tall. Kevin Brown, a coffee mug. Rita Schaefer, then Mag. Sorry I'm not here tonight, but want to show support. Love Gray and my freak family. She did a cat eye donation. And then Kevin Brown. LM said thank you to both. And then Zozo. LM again. Colleen with hearts on it. And then Cuckoo Cabanas. Great job hosting. Thank you, Gray. Holly Evans. Great duo. Thanks. And Mary Poppins. Miss you guys. My kiddos have been keeping me busy. So there you go. All right. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Oh, and then there was also a hold on. Oh, and then Shazzy D on PayPal. So thank you very much. Yep, chopped liver. Poor Gray. Oh, God. Don't you guys feel bad for me? Yeah, I do. Oh, did I miss you or something? Lee D? Oh, well, it wasn't on that printout. So thanks, Lee D. I think you did. I remember yours. Hold on. Why didn't it show up on there? Hold on a second. Let me look. I actually remember yours now, but it's... Oh, yeah. Didn't I say your name? Thanks, Lee D. That was after Zozo's comment. I don't know how I skipped right over that one. Because the next one was that Ita one. All right. Well, anyways. Thanks, Lee D.
Thanks, Lee D.
Thanks, Lee D.
Thanks, Lee D.
Thanks, Lee D. Hey, see, everybody's saying it now, right? Yeah, chop liver D. Chop liver D. A lot of milkmen in there, right, Audra? All right. Well, hey, thanks, everybody. I appreciate you guys all coming on the show tonight. Hope you guys found it interesting and entertaining, at least. I did. So, maybe it'd be cool to have more information on that case in Canada, wouldn't it? I didn't find one newspaper article on it. So, thank you guys very much, and make sure that you guys wash your hands, maintain your social distancing, wear a mask, and, for God's sakes, if you want to, get that shot when first presented. Go rush over and get your vaccine, all right? I want all of you to be safe. And if you don't want to do it, that's okay. Just don't try to convince anybody else, right, Brittany, to not get that shot, all right? Just don't get it yourself if you don't want to, but don't try to convince anybody else not to. You want to get your eyeballs? Wow. Oh, you just got yours? Dan? All right. It doesn't hurt at all getting it. Your arm gets sore, though, the next day. I'll tell you that. Definitely gets sore. Yeah, well, get vaccinated. See, places that have a lot of people packed in like sardines are the breeding grounds and how the virus mutates, okay? You got too many people on this planet. Yeah, it starts getting sore later in the evening, and then tomorrow it'll be really sore, and then the day after that it doesn't hurt at all. Well, at least that's how it was for me. All right, everybody. So thank you very much. And as I always say, everybody, till next time. I thought my bill of my hat was going to be here, but be safe out there. All right. You. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector,
Bug rejector.
I'm a certified human lie detector.
I'm gonna get you
On a stretcher, if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Green is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector. And I'm always gonna be a protector. Fool deflector, interceptor. And I'm meaner than a specter with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody, talk to you later.
sector, figure detector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get you on a stretcher. Be driving like a loop projector. Crime dissector, figure detector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Hoppity poppy poppy pop, diddy diddy poppy pop pop. You don't feel stop, I come alive, yo. Give me what you got, cause I'm guaranteed to make you stop. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, tell me wonder, Mike, what are you waiting for? M-A-S-T-R, a G with the double E. I said a nobody unforgettable name of the man they call the Master G. Well, my name is known all over the world by all the foxy ladies and the pretty girls. Going down in history with that rockin' D-N. You! Going down in history with the baddest brother that ever could be. Now I heal the fires and I'm healing the blows. Your beat starts getting into your toes. You start popping your fingers and stabbing your feet and moving your body while you're sitting in your seat and say damn. You're up to the freak, I said jam. I run it out of your seat then with all your hands high in the air. You're rocking to the beat, singing every air. Rocking to the beat without a care. With the suicide MCs for the affair. Now I'm not as tall as the rest of the gang, but I can rap to the beat just the same. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
11, 12, 13. Is that all you're going to give me is rapping, just saying numbers?
Well, that's all you can do. You suck.
So hey, is Dan showed up in the images? I haven't been watching. Yeah, I just like regular old Lay's potato chips. Right, Jennifer? Those are the good ones. Just good old Lay's potato chips, man. Now, how about this? Ruffles or without ridges? Huh? Which one?
I like the ones with the ruffles in them.
I didn't ask you.
I just wanted to say, gee.
There's Juju Positive. No, I didn't see what you said. I don't. It doesn't matter. Oh, you got your shots. Good job, Sasmir. Excellent. Good for you. I heard the Pfizer doesn't have as bad side effects after the second one. Fuck rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. There you go. There you go, Gen H. There you go. Gray, you're so mean.
Gray, you're so mean.
Hey, Sassmare. Which one did you get, Sassmare? Which one did you get, Sassmare? Pfizer? I'm so mean. What'd I do this time? God dang it. Yeah, well, don't get, hey, Kevin, don't get confidence out there, okay? You get the first shot, you got to wait 3 weeks before you're 80% protected. Don't get confidence at all till those 3 weeks are up. Then you might feel a little better. I have to wait a month, though. It's weird. I got mine last Sunday, the same day you did, Kevin. I got my shot on Sunday, but I have to wait until May 2nd for my next one. But yeah, don't feel confident yet. Oh, Moderna you got. Yeah. Wow, you got through the Moderna. Okay. Yeah, well, don't stay home, man. Keep doing the same shit you were doing before. I think as soon as I get fully after the second one, I will feel okay, good. I can go in a store. Of course, you're going to have to keep wearing your mask until somebody says one day, okay, everybody, you don't have to wear it. We have no cases or something. But here's the thing. If you're fully vaccinated, you shouldn't have to wear a mask no matter what. That's the truth. Especially, like, say, after July. Everybody had a chance to get vaccinated. If people who are vaccinated could somehow spread it, and you're not one of the people who decided to get vaccinated, that's totally on you at that point. But the people that are vaccinated are 100% protected from the severe COVID disease and 95% protected from even catching it. So that means even the way it was before, it's 1 in 20 chance of catching it. But it's also 100% against getting the severe COVID disease. So at that moment, everybody who's got fully vaccinated, and well, you don't even have to know. Everybody should just not have to wear masks anymore. once they know that a certain number of people are vaccinated. Now, the people who didn't get vaccinated are still going to be at risk, and something might happen to them, but that's really their choice, right? So the rest of the people, nobody should have to wear masks after, let's say, July or June even, like late June, when everybody had a chance to get vaccinated. That's my opinion on it. And I think that because we need to get back to normal again, right? That's just the reality. We can't just keep doing, when is it okay? For example, how about this? All the people who have been fully vaccinated, the elderly people, they used to go on cruise ships all the time. Well, let them go back on their cruises. Just make sure that the people on it are the elderly people that have all been vaccinated. And when they're on the boat, everybody, and everybody that works on the boat is vaccinated, they don't have to wear their masks for 1 second on that boat. Because that's the reality of it. We can't just keep doing this. There has to be a moment where we get back to normal again, right? Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, you're going to wear your mask even after you're fully protected. So what was the point then? Right? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Sasmir. I have no idea what you're talking about. I just said I've got my shot. I'm not going to do anything differently than I've been doing until I'm fully vaccinated. But then once I've got completely through the second shot, 3 weeks after the second shot, I don't feel like I should have to wear a mask. I'm sure I'll keep wearing it, but there's got to be a time where somebody comes out and says, you don't have to wear it anymore, because we can't just keep wearing masks forever. It's just really weird. This isn't 12 Monkeys or something. Anyways, why am I still here talking? All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Be safe out there.